evening, my fellow Tottenham fans, and welcome back to the Irish Hotspur with your boys, Dave and Jack, bringing you your Monday night fan phone-in show. So if you guys want to come on and have your say and you're a fan show member, just go ahead to the community section now. The link is up there. Jack put it up there a few minutes ago on my behalf, so fair play to you on that one, Jack. Simply click on it and it'll bring you into the back end. And I would say if you do want to have your say, now is the time to get in. Not too full at all this evening. But Jack, how are you keeping, sir?
Keeping all right. Please, everybody, come on in, phone on in, have a chat with us. I'm pretty sure now people have calmed down from their dancing, Wernering on the dance floor. They're murdering on the dance floor after Spurs' equalizer and eventual win. Was a good game. I think we can be happy with the 3 points. Definitely a lot of question marks in some regard to the performance, because I wouldn't say it was the most convincing. It was kind of one of those where maybe deserved 3 points, but was it also like the most convincing of performances? Perhaps not. So definitely then some gray area for us to dive into. So if you guys want to chat about that, feel free to do so. And a huge game against Villa coming up as well, which I think we'll be discussing at some stage too. But yeah, looking forward to it. Phone on in, have a chat with us.
I'm excited about this game this week, Jack. The big games, this is what I live for, and I absolutely cannot wait for it. But Jack makes a great point. We do want to know where people are at, although we got the win. Are you still, are you okay with the performance levels that we've shown for the majority of that game, or are you not? Come on and let us know. Just to update people quickly as well. If you haven't already checked the scout report out, do check that out after this show. But Luka Vuskovic has just scored for Radomek, the team that he's on loan at Poland. A nice powering header as well from a 16-year-old, which is good to see. And also Pierre-Emile Højbjerg signed on a new agency today out in Italy. Does that tell us everything we need to know? Maybe potentially ahead of a summer move, maybe off to Juventus or something like that. So bits and pieces going on. Also, let us know what you think of Timo Werner's performance. Missed a massive sitter in the first half, but I'd argue made up for it in the second half. Brennan Johnson's impact off the bench. Most people, or a lot of people, what I'm seeing around, they want to see Johnson rewarded against Aston Villa. If you're one of them, come on and give me reasons why, because I think Kulusevski should still start. So I'm going to be on the opposite end of that. And also Emerson, right? Came in at right back. People weren't happy last week. Was he much improved at the weekend? So please come on and let us know. A lot to get our teeth into. Let's welcome some people in and then let's crack on. Efficiency is key on Monday nights. We have Levi. Big up, Levi. Let's go. First comment. He's absolutely buzzing. Good to see you in the building, sir. Dermotron just renewing his membership. Good to see you, Tron.
An elite member. Appreciate you, Dermotron. And thank you for the support, sir. Hopefully we get to chat with the Tron tonight.
Just he's happy he's gone elite. Big up, Dermo. Good to see you, my man. Let us know if you'll be on or not, sir. We also have Ashley Coupe. Says, how's everyone going? Absolutely buzzing. Winners are grinners. That's what they say. Who else have we got? Paro Miguel Escobardo. Good to see you, sir. Big up, Jacko and Davide. Big up, everyone in the chat. Good to see you, my man. He says, kindly smash that like button. We also have Davey Hall. If they play like they have done in the first half, they won't make Champions League first round. I feel we have a lot of players who have reached their top potential. Jack, would you agree with that? Do we have some players playing at their max, or do you disagree? Do you think there's still scope for improvement with the majority of that squad?
I think you would agree with David that a lot of players in this team right now aren't playing at their best possible levels. Like, we know that some of them can play a lot better than what they have been. I'd say James Maddison falls into that category. We know Kulusevski can pull off moves as well as, chances. Is just that player that has an X factor in him at any stage. You don't always get to see it on more of a regular basis. Like, maybe we would like to. There's also players like Bentancur who looked really frustrated, with his own performance. We know if he's playing at his best, he can be a real asset and he can be a real game changer. So I'd say that actually we do have a lot of players that aren't really playing at their highest potential or aren't playing at their top quality at this moment in time. And if that's the case, lessens our chances really of, getting into that Champions League spots where you do need everyone, fit, firing, and feeling as confident as they possibly can be. Because at this stage, it does feel like, while it's not the most, it feels like every spot's up for grabs, but I would say it's still the Premier League. Like, it's really high quality, really good teams who sit at the top of the table. And if you want to be up there, you do have to have pretty much everybody, at their best.
Well, I definitely agree with that, Jacko. We do need everyone getting back to their best. What I would say, Davey, is my big question is, why do we wait till we go 1-0 down to start playing football, start taking more risks with the football? We done that in the first half when we had the 75-80% possession. We probably wouldn't have got ourselves into that predicament. Found it very, very frustrating, Davey Hall. We also have Jason Bell. Big up, lads. Good to see you in, Jason. Says, my heart says we're ready for Champions League, but my head fears we might have a disaster like Newcastle. I think our progression, especially some youth, would benefit more from playing in the Europa League. Look, I certainly don't disagree with that whatsoever. If we do it, I don't care what European competition we end up in, to be brutally honest, this summer. I'm just quite frankly very bored during the week, and I need European football back. I don't even care if it's Europa Conference League at this point. I really don't. Look, if it was a lesser sort of European competition, you like Europa League or a Conference League, you'd like to think there would be some sort of minutes there for some of the youngsters maybe to blood them in. I know Arsenal and Arteta done that using the Europa League before they got into the Champions League. However, I'm not going to lie, with the new Champions League format, with it being one big group, you get 8 games. And then if you finish, I think, in the top 8, you're automatically through. And then the next day, I think then you go into some sort of knockout round and stuff like that. I think it's very interesting, and I want to be a part of it, to be brutally honest with you, Jason Bell, because within that big group of 32, you are going to have some weaker teams in there that you could still blood some of your youngsters if you wanted to, Jason. That's my thoughts on it. Jack, anything you want to say to Jason?
I feel like Spurs fans, like, they do want to be in the Champions League because of the grandeur of it. There's also, I think, the possibility to be able to come up against more frequently, top quality clubs and sides, which, would get more people probably up for watching some of the games, as much as I'm actually a bit of a nerd about some of the random Conference League teams and teams like that we could come up against. Most people do want to play in the Champions League. There is a bit of, like, depending on how much investment we get this summer, if we were to go straight to the Champions League after Postecoglou's first season, could it be a bit of like a, biting too much, whatever, more than we can chew, or biting too much
Similar
before
to
we can
Conte,
chew?
right?
Yeah, like maybe it's too soon, and we do need to cook a little slower than actually we have been. And it could be similar to the Conte situation. I'd actually agree. That's a good parallel, more than I think about it. Yeah.
Mm, mm. Something to definitely think about. Look, I'll just be brutally. I just want Champions League football. I just love the prestige that comes with it, Jason Bell. But I do take Jack's point. In terms of progression and stuff like that. Maybe a Europa League would be useful, but any sort of European football, I just want stuff to do during the week. Derek Hutchinson, big up, Dave and Jack. Come on, you Spurs. Good to see you, Derek. Hopefully you're keeping well. Alpesh Patel, evening, Dave and Jack. Here we go again. Going behind and getting the job done. We've got to stop going behind, Alpesh. That's the big problem for me. I don't enjoy it. I'm not going to lie. We also have Hennessy. Evening, ladies and gents. Good to see you, Hennessy.
Evening to you, Hennessy.
Well. And we also have Gary. Good evening to all you Spurs fans. Great win on Saturday. Look, I'll take it. That's for sure, my man. Motor City Spurs N17 says, love the show, boys. Champions League, no question. Tottenham till we die. Big up, Motor City. Absolutely love that. Shawnee Maddox is with us. Big up, everyone. Such a roller coaster of a game that it was. I was ready to just, 90 minutes, end the stream, go to bed, to be honest with you, and cry. But, God didn't want me to. He wanted me to stay awake and celebrate. AK Shake says, come on, you Spurs. Good to see you, my man. We also have Shay Arsenal. Big up. No, big up to you if you're an Arsenal fan. We also have Hennessy, member for 15 months. Of course, Champions League, but for the long-term project, Europa League. I want to see us control and go far in Europa. That will show me we're ready for the UEFA Champions League. Jack, I never thought we'd be discussing about this tonight. People preferring the Europa League over there, or the Champions League, or giving reasons why they want Europa League over the Champions League. What have you done?
Yeah, that's what I came up with this morning when I put out the fan show. I was like, can I just come up with one, maybe in my opinion, slightly juicy title that people could have their debates about. Maybe it's going to catch on. Maybe it's going to spark, some sort of good debates, in the chat. But I agree with maybe some people who would kind of feel like, when you just want to go for the highest, award as possible, like, isn't it not much of a debate at all? But the more that you overthink things, Dave, which I love to do, and plenty of people do here, you could see the logic in how, like, again, could we be progressing too fast by finishing in the Champions League? Also considering the elephant in the room, which is sometimes Daniel Levy, and how much investment will he actually give for us to really compete at an actual level for the Champions League straight away, and all that sort of stuff. So I think the more you overthink it, Dave, the more it makes sense.
I try not to overthink some of these things, Jacko. But look, I do understand that. I do understand the discussion. Who else have we got here? We've got Robin Owen. Good to see you. Says, good day, guys. Marky Cook, great to see you. Says, big up, Jack and Dave. Hope you're both well. Great to see you. By the way, how bad of me? Great service, by the way, on 15 months, Hennessy. Really appreciate it. Maybe make sure you come and speak to us sometime soon, sir. We also have IrishHotspur. Big up, lads. Let's run the table. Come on, you Spurs. We also have Longy says, good evening, gents. Good to see you, Longy. Hopefully you're keeping well. Paul Brown says, good evening, lads. Hopefully all's well. Time for therapy. THFC fans just require patience and shed loads of coys. Like, share, and sub. Big up, Paul Brown. Really appreciate that. I don't think patience exists amongst our fan base or any fan base, to be brutally honest, Paul Brown. I think we live in a world where everyone demands everything now and wants everything now because you can sort of get everything at the click of a button. But some things in life just don't work like that, Paul. Some things do require a bit of patience. You're absolutely spot on, sir. Phil Coyce, big up, Dave and Jack. Worried for Philly if you consider how we played in the last 6 to 8 games. That is, look, I do have that worries and that concerns myself. I don't want to get too ahead of myself after that Palace victory. You know, we had a good 11-minute spell where we got our luck because we started trying to knock on the door and we took our chances. It's going to be a bit different ball game against Aston Villa. We're going to have to be on it from minute one, Phil. Absolutely spot on there. And we'll take a couple more comments and then we'll start cracking on with some guests. Donovan Oosterreicher, great to see you, my man. He says, come on, you Spurs, huge week ahead for Tottenham Hotspur Football Club. An absolute massive week, Donovan. But this is what we live for, my man. It's a bit like underneath Antonio Conte when we got 4. No one thought we would get it. Let's wait and see. You know, we're the outsiders now. And I just have a sneaky suspicion we might get over the line, my man. Paul G says, evening, lads. Super tough question. I would lean to agreeing with Jason. Well put. Big up, Paul G. That's about 4 people now for Europa Conference League. I feel like I'm on my own. Steve D says, spot on, Jack. That's 5. We need to acknowledge how tough the league is now with all the money in the Prem. Way ahead of schedule. Evening, lads. I do agree that it'll probably put more expectations or even further expectations on Ange next season. I definitely agree with that.
I think Steve D's also as he said during the watch along, I think he says we don't even stand a chance anyways of finishing in the top 4. So I think he's also just in that category. Big up, Steve.
Big up, Steve D. Regular gamer says, greetings, Flat Cap Army. Hope you're all doing fine. We're all keeping well, my man. How are you keeping? Let us know. Shem Tan says, good evening, David and Jack. Glad we got 3 points. Worried about our first half performance, though. We seriously need to figure out how to get those players to come out stronger to start the games. I absolutely am in agreement with this. I get it that, Palace put everybody behind the ball and it was frustrating for large periods. But ask yourself, did we do enough to draw them out? Like, try different things, cross the ball, take shots, put balls in from different angles with different runners and asking different questions. We didn't. We just started doing horseshoe, accepting it side to side. It was only once the injury time board went up with the added time for the first half where the Tottenham players really got that urgency and like, oh, shit, we better do something because they know what was coming at half time. I keep saying this. Why did I have to wait to half time to be told what to do? It's absolutely mind-boggling, Shentam. Hopefully we get to the bottom of that today, my man. We also have Tyler, Big T in the house. Hopefully you're keeping well. Good to see you in the building. We have Raiden in here as well. Says, come on, you Spurs. Good to see you, Raiden. We have Milton Nobrega. Says, hey, guys, lots of love for your work from Australia. Big up, my man. Really appreciate that. Let me know whereabouts in Australia. He says, if you were Ange and had 200 million to buy 3 to 4 players next season, who would you buy and why? Look, I'd love to get Eze out of Crystal Palace. Go and get me Pedro Neto as well. Do you know what? I'd actually take 100 million and go buy Harry Kane and bring him back. Being brutally honest,
cheeky
money, bring him back. That's where I'd be at with it. Jack, are you?
Yeah, you've gone for 3 players by doing that instead of going for 4.
Harry's expensive.
Yeah, exactly. I would go after either Anthony Robinson or Ryan Ayat-Nouri for a backup left back. I'd go for probably another center back. I'm not going to name one right now because I just think, it's not worth it. I'd need another number 6, probably. It seems like people are kind of alluding to. I really liked that Cristante link that we had to the guy at Roma. I actually think he'd be an excellent Højbjerg replacement has that range of passing that I think Højbjerg does as well. So, and probably maybe a better player too. So I just think everybody would be happy at the end of the day. And then I agree with Dave on either Pedro Neto, Eberiche. I love him. And then even just on Sunday, Dave and I were talking about someone who's, I don't say of that sort of quality, but somebody I do have a soft spot for more and more. I actually really like Semenyo as like an alternative winger to Kulusevski because he plays on the right-hand side, left-footed, but more two-footed than I'd say Kulusevski is. And so he'd be an interesting player. And he's just smooth. He's kind of like Emerson or other players. He has a lot of confidence in the way he carries himself and everything. So I kind of like Semenyo.
No, I can't lie. I do have a bit of a soft spot from Semenyo. I just love his sort of attitude. He always looks to get involved.
Cool and casual.
Yeah, he is. Big up, Milton. Really appreciate the question, my man. Big yourself up. Let us know in the comment section who you would buy also. Big up, Daniel Larson. Good to see you, sir. We also have Gregorino, good to see you as well. He says Europa League won't be ready for Champions. We won't be ready for Champions League. And then Pottermax, big up to the most lethal duo on YouTube. I appreciate that, my man. And then we also have Rick C as well. Good to see you in the building, along with Future Music. Haven't seen you in a while. Says respect, lads. Big up all the chat. Our next four signings will be the most transformative for us. Come on, you Spurs. I really do hope so. And then Emmanuel Spanos, good to see you in the building as well. Just make sure I'm not missing anyone here. Drop kick your teacher. Good to see you. If I were an opponent, I'd be trying to draw fouls outside the box, knowing how bad we are at set pieces. Yeah, there's that too. I mean, James Maddison's deliveries from set pieces was absolutely shocking at the weekend. And then we have Biggie Biggs. Not only players want toxic fans out this club, going sport, and Arsenal. Ange doesn't want you. That's a bit harsh. But anyway, look, you're allowed. You're entitled to your opinion. Big up Alberto as well. And also, Trinabad, nice one, lads. Who would you bring in to be the leader we need on the pitch? Being honest, I think they're in such short supply nowadays. I think it's something that's dying out of the game personally, but everyone's being told what to do with the stats and all that sort of stuff. I think, it's very hard to find them now. I do think we're lucky. I think Romero's definitely a leader. Sonny, he leads by example and leads behind the scenes and stuff like that. But I just want someone that's going to do it more on the pitch. When things aren't going well, have the nous to go and speak to people, pick them up, to tell them what to do. I think a large part of why we're seeing what we're seeing in the first half is, they're almost waiting for someone to kick them up the ass a little bit and get going. And I think it's a huge problem. Why do they have to wait to get into half time to get a rollicking to get going? Why is there no one on the pitch doing that? It is a bit of a concern of mine on that. But look, let's get it going. Let's crack on and let's get some guests on and hear what they have to say. And just quickly, the Big D, good to see you. Champions League, just for the level of signings we could get. Happy Monday, David and Jack. Happy Monday to you, my fellow winner. But guys, we are going to start getting on some guests now. Feel free to put in questions in the chat that you want us to ask these guys when they come on here. Feel free to make it, a super chat if that's what you'd like to do and support your two boys. As someone said, the most lethal duo on YouTube. Or why not grab a membership or share one out to other people? Great way to help expand the community we have going on over here. But Jacko, unless you have anything to add, I think we'll crack on.
No, ready to go. Appreciate everybody that's tuned in so far. Thanks to everybody that's already clicked the link and wanted to have a chat with us. Let's get the show on the road. Well done, Dave.
By the way, just quickly, no updates on Big Brother, by the way. I'll be watching it after. But look, let's kick it off. Let's get Brad on and hear what he makes of the result at the weekend. Braddy boy, how are you keeping, sir?
Hey, the dynamic duo, they're back in town. The boys are back in town. How's it going?
Not too bad. How are you after the weekend? Did you get to the
game? Yeah. It's always good to get the win, and you tend to forget, the poor parts of the game. You're just happy with the win, as I was on Saturday evening, Sunday morning, sort of thing. But it wasn't the best performance. We all know that. I was particularly bored by the second half. About 15, 20 minutes in, I think, well, how are we going to score? But the one thing about this team is that they're very resilient. They keep trying and they keep trying and they keep trying. They never get up. We never stop. It's true. They just don't. And they found the way. I think I was saying to the guy who sits next to me, I'm not overly concerned at this stage in the Postecoglou tenure, shall we say? Because if you look at the team that played on, Saturday compared to the team that started the season, You've got Madison, you've got Basuma, who are absolutely excellent to start the season, but they're not quite performing at the moment. You've got Bentancur, who's an absolute world beater last season. He's not performing as he can. So you've got players there that aren't probably in the best form of their lives. So I think that might be one of the reasons why we're having this problem. But yeah, no, we do need. So it does need fixing. We do need to start quicker, as everyone's been saying. I watched the Man United game yesterday, and Man City was struggling at times to break Man United down, who had everyone behind the ball. So I'm not saying we're anywhere near Man City, but the best clubs do have this problem. And what Man City were doing, which I think we can do a bit better, is they are moving the ball quick. Even though they're passing side to side, they're moving it back very, very quickly, making the Man United players move as well. And eventually that tires players out, and that's when you strike. And Man City didn't really score until the second half. So yeah, I'm not overly concerned, but yeah, we do definitely need to improve. I think we have a problem. Just last point on the game. I think we've seen where the goals have come from in the last few weeks. And Brendan Johnson, to be fair, has done well in assist-wise. More assists than Odegaard this season. He gets down the right. He puts the cross in. We've seen Sonny get down the left. We've seen Werner get down the left, put the crosses in. I don't think we get that as much with Kulusevski. That worries me a little bit because he's left-footed on the right-hand side. The cutting in, I think, is a bit of a detriment. I think Kulusevski is a very, very good player. Don't get me wrong, but I think that might be an issue that I think that we have in that he doesn't get to the byline, or if he does, he'll come back on his left foot. There was a couple of right-footed crosses he put in, but I think with Brendan Johnson or any sort of right-footed winger, they can get to those positions and pull the ball back. Because if you get to the byline, you pull the ball back, you take out the offside equation. So yeah, I think that might be a bit of concern. But yeah, I'm happy with the win. I mean, we're fifth, in fifth at the moment. We're probably safe in the top six. We've got that game in hand on Man United. We're 6 points clear of them. Although the game in hand's at Chelsea, which we don't have a good record. But I'm reasonably pleased at the moment.
I just wanted to ask you just quickly, Brad. Do you think maybe a large part of our problem could be, especially going forward, the reason why it takes us so long to break down teams, because we have had to rely, especially lately, on impacts off the bench, which is a huge plus. But does Ange Postecoglou know his best midfield and know his best forward line? Or do you think he's still trying to find that out? Because for me, that signals I don't think he does. That's why we're relying a lot on the impact off the bench.
Yeah, and I think you can have a point there, David. I think that he hasn't really had the full squad to pick his best 11 from until probably, and even now, suddenly Richarlison's out. Although he did sort of run to celebrate the second goal with his dodgy knee. So how serious that injury is, we can only guess. But yeah, I think you're right there. I think he's learning his players, and the players are learning his way of playing. And I think he might be trying to think of his best first 11. But then again, it's you're going to have your first 11, of course, but then it's still the squad game. And once you get that strong squad, you should be able to put out 11 players that are going to win games for you. I mean, I don't want to bring up Man City because they've had all the 7 or 8 years and all the money in that, but you could probably pick any 11 players out of Man City, or put any 11 Man City players out there, and they'll do a job for you. So we've got to get to that stage, and our bench is a lot better than it has been in recent years. So we're not really right there at the moment, but we're getting a lot better.
Look, don't get me wrong. I do think we're getting better as the season goes on. Just it concerns me that Papamassar was took out of the team. Bentancur was in there. I just think looking at that with Bentancur coming back from his injury, I'm not sure Ange knows what his best midfield tree is in that regard. I still think he's trying to search for it, but also with the forward line, I think it's hard because the players he starts aren't doing enough, and then players he brings off the bench do the impact, but then when he gives them their opportunity, it goes back to them not doing anything and then having to bring other guys off the bench. So that's why I asked that question. Jack, any questions for Brad?
Just on the back of that, compared to last season, Brad, would you say that Ange Postecoglou is more or less stubborn maybe when it comes to switching things up? Like he was willing to drop Papamassar out of nowhere. He was willing to move Werner back into the lineup, these sort of type of things. Like, do you think he makes more changes to the lineup And does that
I,
satisfy Spurs fans, do you think?
I think
Or
he. I
because it
think
was the
he.
thing people complained about last year with Conte. If I
Yeah,
remember.
I think he's stubborn insofar as it's his way or no other one's way. I think he's stubborn in that. But then, that he's always said that. He hasn't really shied away from that. I think I was surprised that Papassar didn't start
Yeah.
on Saturday. And when he came on, he did add that, as I've always said, he adds that bit of energy, that up and down. I mean, not wishing to mention any names, but Patrick Vieira, that sort of, player that's very tall, very strong, quick, can get up and down the pitch. I was watching, as I guess a lot of us had, the Ali Gold thing today, and he was saying that he might have potentially had a bit of a back problem. So maybe it was an injury or a slight injury that kept him out of starting on Saturday. So, maybe that was the reason. But it did surprise me. I don't think Bentancur at the moment is in the top form, but he's come back from a major injury. So it's at that sort of time that we. And to be fair, I think, as I've always said, this is a free pass for Ange this season. So we've got a little bit of time. Yeah, we've got to win as many games as we can and get as high up the table as we can. But it is a little bit of a free pass this season. And then, of course, you've got next season with hopefully a fit squad and hopefully some new signings.
Well, I hope so. We just got to fill out that squad over the summer. Maybe last question for me, Brad, and then Jack will probably have one more for you after. Brennan Johnson, he came off the bench, had an impact. His endeavour, was what got us, back into the game. I've seen a large clamour of fans after the game sort of wanting Brennan Johnson to start next week against Aston Villa. Where are you at with that? Do you think it's meritocracy, he should start, or do you think Kulu will start again anyway?
That's a difficult one. I like Brennan Johnson. I think he's taken a lot of unfair flack. Yeah, he hasn't set the world alight, but then, as I said before, he's a 22-year-old lad coming from Notts Forest to Tottenham Hotspur. That's a big move. That's a really big move. And I was so pleased for him on Saturday. Where I sit, I'm literally I'm 14 rows up, but that's literally where he gets the ball. And the determination he showed to get that ball and win that ball and put that cross in for that goal was his goal. That really was his goal. Great for Werner to put it in, but let's face it, anyone can put that one in probably. But yeah, that was Brendan Johnson's goal. And he's, as the stats have proved, he's got, I think it's so like 6 or 7, 8 goal involvements in so many games. So he is doing it on statistically. And yeah, of course he needs a bit of work on that. As for starting on against Villa, I think we're probably going to need, even though I was sort of saying about Kulusevski not being a good far right winger, I think we're probably going to need his strength on Sunday against Villa because we're going to be having to defend a lot more than we had to on Saturday. So I probably would go with Kulusevski. And at the moment, he's a very good sub, is Brendan Johnson. He comes on, has an effect. So I wouldn't, they say never change a winning team. So I'd say injury, if there's no injury problems, I'd go with that same team. Maybe you can put Sarr in instead of Bentancur, but again, it depends on how, whether he has got a back problem or whatever. But no, I probably would go with Kulusevski, despite what I said earlier, because I think his strength will be we will need that on Sunday for sure. It's what a day it is. I mean, I'm not going to the game, but it's like a pub day for me because you've got that game, and if you win that game, you can sit back and watch Man City versus Liverpool. So it's a really good football day. That
what a day.
I'm not sure if this is going to be a mood killer with this one, Brad, to give you a question. So
I have got one too. I do want to say
you can reject. Okay, yeah, you can totally reject it, and we can have you say what you want to say. Dave put a good one here, and he wrote, Spurs are set to submit an application to nearly double the amount of major non-football events they can potentially hold at the stadium each year. Are you okay with this idea to drive the stadium to generate large funds for the club, or do you maybe see this as another kind of ploy by maybe the owners to get more cash?
Football, unfortunately, football at the moment is not a people game. It's a money game. We've just got to live with that. That's the modern world. It's all governed by money. Our governments are governed by money. That's the modern world. I don't mind how much we use that stadium to generate income. I really don't. They could have the Bolshoi Ballet there. I don't care, but as long as they put money back into the football team, because the football team is the top of the pyramid. That's what Tottenham Hotspur Football Club is. It's a football team. Yeah, it's great that the area, it brings money into the area. That's brilliant. I've got no problems with that whatsoever. Regenerate the area. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. Regenerate train station. Or I have to say, the train station, why is you spend all that money on White Hart Lane station and you haven't got any toilets there? So, yeah. As go back to your question, Jack. As long as they use the money, any income they get, if they put it back into the team, I've got no problems with that whatsoever. But we've got to see that proven with the players that we buy.
Yeah.
It's okay. We're not in the position at the moment to buy the 100 million players. Although I would love to see Harry Kane back, David. I would love that. We put Harry Kane in that current team we got at the moment, and wow, yeah. So that's my answer to that question.
Okay.
I do want to. You talked about the Europa League and the Champions League. I mean, I predicted that we'd finish fifth. I still stand by that. I think fifth's probably as high as we can get. I think we can get fourth. I'm not saying we can't, but I think fifth is probably. Given the amount of games we've got, we've still got to go to Newcastle, we've still got to go to Chelsea, we've still got to go to these sort of places that are tough places to go to, despite the form of the teams that play there. And then we got the Arsenal, Man City, Liverpool in the space of 3 or 4 weeks or whatever, or 3 or 4 days, or was it? What am I talking about? 2 weeks or whatever it is. But so I think getting as high as to the question on Champions League football or Europa League football. If we don't try and become the best team we possibly can by trying to become as high up the table as we can, what's the point of us? What is the point of Tottenham Hotspur Football Club? So we have to aim for that Champions League. The caveat to that is the Champions League, obviously, hopefully you're going to attract better players by being in the Champions League because better players want to play in the top tournament. So that's an advantage. Having said all that, I do think the Europa League is
6 answers for Europa
all
League.
the conference. I mean, I think the Europa League will definitely finish in there. I don't think the Conference League. I don't think. Let's face it. You look at the teams below us; they're a long, long way away. We'd have to be incredibly poor. They'd have to be incredibly good to catch us. So I think the Europa League is virtually nailed on at the moment. But the Europa League, apart from giving the opportunity to play, your fringe players and that, and but it's another trophy we can go for. It's another trophy. This club is in desperate need of a trophy, and that will just be another one to go for. Let's be honest, we're not going to win the Champions League anytime soon. So I think the Europa League would be a trophy that we can go for, and I hope they do go for it. So I want us to get Champions League football because that's the point of the football club. But the Europa League won't be as much of a disappointment if we that's where we end up. And you're saying with the new format, which I think is over all 3 competitions. I think the conference is slightly different, but so you've got a good chance of getting in, into the knockout round, and then Tottenham have got a good pedigree in Europe, in the history of the club. So that Europa League, something we can win. West Ham won the Conference League. I think Fulham were in the Europa League win, weren't they, a few years ago. So I think Wolves got to a semi-final or whatever. So it's a competition that Tottenham Hotspur can win. So so that's my answer to that question.
Great.
Look, if you're in it, you got to go and win it. That's my motto.
Exactly.
That's my motto. But Brad, great calling this week, my man. Really appreciate it, sir. Blue Sofa Songs, you want to give it a plug?
Yes, please. Yes, Blue Sofa Songs. That is, as you can see down there, that is my YouTube channel. For any of you that don't know, I write and record and my own songs. Play all the instruments. Although there are sort of drum loops and that sort of thing, but I do it, produce it, do the videos, do everything. There's a song at the moment called "Sense of Wonder," which is getting a few views. I'm very pleased with that. So go and give that a watch. And subscribe and all those wonderful things. And there might be another song out this Friday, which will be my entry into a songwriting competition. It'll be like a stripped back version of an older song, but I've heard the stripped back version. It actually sounds quite good. So that hopefully will be out this Friday. I've just got to put a video together. Go and check out Blue Sofa Songs. And again, thanks guys for the opportunity. As you'd say in The Apprentice, I won't be watching Big Brother tonight, David. But But so thanks for all the support you've given me over the last couple of years, and so subscribe to these guys. You know, they are the dynamic duo. And anyone else that has a channel on the show, you know, subscribe. That's how we all do it. We all survive as a community. So even if you just go on there, as I do, I click through a lot of the two shows, you know, and just watch it for 2 or 3 minutes, give the like. That's all you have to do, you know. So it's not anything, you know. It doesn't cost to subscribe. You know, no one's going to be, you know, asking you for money. So please subscribe to my channel and give it a review, and these guys as well. So thanks a lot, guys.
Thanks for kicking us off.
Let's go this Sunday against Villa. Let's do it this Sunday.
Oh, I can't wait. I can't wait, Brad. I'll speak to you during the week, my man. Have a good one.
Cheers, guys. Have a good one.
Take care. Have a good week, Brad.
Goodbye.
Thank you, sir.
Bye-bye. And guys, when Brad does put up that song that he's going to enter into the competition, let's all get behind it, get over there, give it a view, smash the like button, give it a comment, and help the guy out. We want to see Spurs fans succeed, and Brad is an absolute gentleman, always kicks us off here on a Monday night. Not an easy thing to do, so everyone, big up Brad in the comment section below. And make sure the link is, Jack put it in there. Make sure you get over and smash the subscribe button. THFC till I die says, guys, if we finish top 5, it could still get us Champions League. I ran the numbers. I did my research, and Johnson told you he will come good. Well,
which one is he running the numbers for? Is he running the numbers for Champions League, or is he running the numbers for Johnson? Maybe both. This is what's going on here. I'm not sure.
I'm not quite so sure. I don't know what he's running the numbers on. He's probably running local bingo numbers. You know, you don't know with Dermot. No, I think he's running numbers on the Champions League. I think with the coefficiency and stuff like that. I presume. You know, that there was a chance coming into this season that top 5 could be enough to secure you the Champions League. I'm sure Dermot will come on and give us the permutations on that. So Dermot, make sure you're up to date with that. Look, as for Johnson, I'm not going to get too overhyped off the one game. He had a great impact, don't get me wrong, and I was absolutely delighted for the lad. But I want to see more of it. But I want to see more consistency from the guy. And if he does get his opportunity against Aston Villa, like he did against Everton, I don't want to see him shy or cower away from things. And, you know, that's the problem with Brennan Johnson. He's so divisive because you see some great explosive moments from him, but you don't see enough consistency. So I'm not going to get too far ahead on Brennan Johnson yet. We'll wait and see. But don't get me wrong, your boy done his job against Crystal Palace, which I'm absolutely buzzing about because I would hate to lose to them. I mean, it's embarrassing. They're crap. They're absolutely useless. So I'm delighted Brennan Johnson sparked us into life. He owed me, Darmo, is what I would say on that one. But big yourself up. And then Stephen come in and says, BJ is coming good, much better than Richarlison. I'm not having that, Steve. That's foul play. That's a yellow card. It's a yellow card for Stevie. That's poor. That's poor. Big up, Stevie.
Evening to King Huddle as well. Joining us this evening. Big up to you, King Huddle. Hopefully you're keeping well. And Chris Agambar as well. Member of the Agambar family, the legendary family. Big up to Chris. Hopefully you're keeping well.
Good to see you, sir.
Let's keep this fan show moving, though. And it looks like someone has just popped in here, and we're going to put her second here. We're going to have a chat with her because she's taking care of Angela. Queen Ellie is joining us.
Return of the Mac. Let's get her on. Ellie, how are you keeping?
You're on mute there, Ellie.
You're on mute, Ellie. I think
you're on mute.
That's better.
Much better.
How are you keeping?
Amateur mistake. Yeah, I'm all right. I'm Nurse Ellie. I'm Queen Ellie. I'm like doing everything for everybody. Just cook dinner. And I thought, right, I'm going to have 15 minutes with my lads. Nobody's going to disturb me. And we'll talk about Spurs, isn't it, lads?
Oh, no, I think we have to. I think we have to, Ellie. A lot to talk about. We'll start with your boy Højbjerg, though. Signed on a new agency in Italy today. Does that concern you? Maybe he's gone in the summer?
I think he's gone. He hasn't really told me personally, sorry. But I've been messaging him, asking him to stay as usual, because he's my favourite player next to Bentancur. Bentancur's my favourite, but Højbjerg for different reasons. I like him. But I think it means that he's gone. I can't see anything. Yeah, because when you think about it, he's not getting first team football. He's on the bench. He's used as a bit player. It's not like he's getting 45 minutes or say 30 minutes. He's getting 10, 15 minutes at max. So anyway, good luck to him because he's a good professional, and I wish him all the luck in his career because he's been good for us for the most part.
Yeah, he dropped his agent, but hopefully he doesn't drop his fan club because he doesn't need to do that.
No, he won't drop his fan club. I think I'm the only member, lads.
Oh, please, Ellie. There's plenty of us, Ellie. There is plenty of us. It's just
I do go on his Instagram. He's got lots of people that like him.
he'll definitely miss you. I know that.
Yeah.
He'll definitely. Timo Werner finally got on the score sheet. Ellie, thoughts on his performance, and also, what do you think of Timo Werner? Are you still kind of a bit unconvinced by him? Or you have a lot of high hopes for him? How do you feel about his performance and just his future?
I think he's done quite well, like he hasn't set the stadium alight or anything like that, but he's not let us down, and he's works hard, and he's a diligent player. German players are always hardworking anyway. He makes room for himself. He makes himself available. Sometimes we don't find him. Sometimes we do, and when we do, he doesn't let us down. He doesn't lose the ball, right? And obviously that one-on-one with the goalie was a bit naff, bit muffed it, didn't he? So
shocking.
Yeah, but to tell you the truth, he's not a lethal striker. We didn't buy him for that. We buy him for the assist, and he's had a lot of goal contributions. And I was happy for him that he got on the score sheet. Sorry, it was laid on a plate for him. Even my dead grandmothers, as Mia says, would have scored that. But I like him. I like him because what he gives to the team. He's a hard-working, diligent player, and he doesn't drop his head when he misses. He gets on with it, So
he's much better in the second half, I thought, than he was in the first. In the first half, I was very frustrated with him. I thought he was pretty negative. He was actually doing what, because maybe Man United is well, actually, he was doing what's fresh in my mind is Man United and what Antony kind of does, where he always just gives it back to where he received it from, never actually takes on his man or really has the courage to. And Werner was a lot like that in the first half. But then in the second half, Dave and I were confused because then he was like taking it past his man anytime he wanted to. And it was just like, where's this come from? So he's a confusing player.
He has got that in his game, right? He can beat a player and he's got pace.
Do you think we see it enough though, Ellie?
No, we don't see it enough. That's one thing for sure. But what we do see is a player that's willing to take his player on when it suits him. Because when you think about it, boys, our movement hasn't been good. Especially a lot of games lately, our movement hasn't been good. So the options are not always there for him to find that pass, But what I would say is pass it to Maddison, because Maddison is the creator of the team. We haven't got that many creative players in the team as it is. Now we've got Maddison back. We've got to use him more. We've got to look for him. All right.
Does he do enough in possession though, Ellie? I find myself getting very frustrated when it comes to Maddison. I find him getting an awful lot of the ball, but just giving off the simple pass. And I get angry with him because he's the guy that's tasked to try different things, to, not just sort of fit in with the norm. You buy him for his flair, for his creativity, and I just don't think he does enough. Don't get me wrong. I think he got one of the assists at the weekend. It was a great sort of football. But I just don't think he does enough in terms of affecting games in possession. I want to see a lot more from him. I think there's a much better player in there.
I agree with you, but I disagree as well, because a creative player, right? You need movement. You need movement off the ball. You need players to make the space for you to pick out that killer pass. And we were stagnant, and we were the same against Brighton, right? We were like static, and you've got to move about, and you've got to stretch the wings. You've got to stretch the play. You've got to make those diagonal runs. You've got to have players making other runs to be a deceptive runner, to take a player out of position. We're not doing that enough, right? And when we do it, invariably we score, because you saw it with Romero. He made that diagonal run, and Maddison was fantastic. He just dinked it to him, didn't he? He had that vision to do it. He's the only one in the team really who can open up the locker and give us a goal like that, But like I said, we need to be moving more, and there was a little bit of lethargic play, a bit of laziness, and I was calling out Basuma, because I was so frustrated with him. I know he's playing the number 6 role, but he was doing a Harry Winks, boys. He was doing sideways, backwards. I thought, go and drive with the ball. You're number 6, but that doesn't mean you can't drive with the ball that you're brilliant at. He's one of the best players in the league at driving with the ball. I was really shouting at the television. Come on, Basuma, get in the game.
Do you know what, Ellie?
Happen.
I actually share the same frustrations with you when it came to Basuma, because the soonest stoppage time went up in the first half, Basuma got on the ball, started dribbling, and he'd done it all second half. And this is what I want to try and get to the bottom of. You know, what we're seeing in a lot in first half recently, with it being safe, no one really taking any risk. And inevitably, we're finding ourselves going in at halftime at a deficit because teams are just hitting us on the counter and getting that goal. Is keeping it safe in the first half and tight like that, the way we do in possession, is that an instruction from Ange Postecoglou and then he's changing at halftime? Or is that the players not executing the instructions and then he's having to give them a rollicking at halftime?
I agree with you. It is that Ange Postecoglou. He's a possession-based manager. He likes to have the ball, right? But you also have to have movement off the ball, like I said, right? So it's not worth having the ball if nobody's making the angles for you to unlock the
players doing that, Ellie, or is that Ange Postecoglou's instructions?
I think it's a bit of both. I think Ange Postecoglou's saying, right, boys, don't lose the ball, keep possession, stretch the team, pass side to side, but it's too lethargic. It's no intensity. You know, like if you're going to do that sort of game, right, you've got to put a bit of intensity. And it showed when Brennan Johnson came on in the second half, right, there was intensity, there was a bit of energy boost, you know, and we got the goal. We got the goal because he drove, right, and he made the goal himself. And I was really surprised that he actually beat Anderson, who's a big lad, and he beat him in the one-to-one tackle, got past him and laid on. And it was a simple ball to play, but you've got to play it, all right? But I think it's a bit of both, boys. I really do, because I think Ange Postecoglou wants to be. He doesn't want to go down too much, because at the end of the day, if you're going 2-3-0 down in the first half, which we haven't done so far, so it is working, but then we've got to outscore the opposition, and sometimes we haven't been able to do it, and we've lost the game. You know, like against Wolves, all right, it was only 2-1, but we left ourselves open, right? I just think we haven't got enough intensity. I think he wants us to play zippy balls and movement, you know, with possession, like Man City do. We're the poor man's Man City, aren't we? We really are, right? They got the same result than us, but they have more intensity in their play, and their passing is a lot crisper than ours. But that's because their movement, and they stay close together, so they don't have to play a 20-yard or 30-yard ball. Because the more you play the ball, unless you're Glenn Hoddle, right, the more distance there is, the more chance that you've got of losing it, all right, because the accuracy goes down. That's a known in football.
But you know what, though, Ellie? I think that's half our problem, that we don't have someone in the middle like, you know, your era, you know, Glenn Hoddle used to pick up the ball, spray it about, a bit like what Man City have when they have De Bruyne. You know, against United, they were able to drop balls out over the fullback's head, pull them over that side, you know, and stuff like that. We don't have that ability. Everyone's just keeping it tight, sideways, 5-yard, 10-yard passes. And, you know, that's the problem. I think we need to sign a player like that.
Yeah, we do. We need another creative in there, because Maddison can't do it all on his own. And he's just coming back from injury as well. It's only been 3 games that he's played, 3 or 4 games. So he's still a bit rusty, right? And Bentancur's gone off the boil as well, which is not helping him, because you need another player like Bentancur to feed off. And Bentancur's a very intelligent player, you know, but he hasn't been doing it lately. So it's only Basuma was playing the number 6 role, but he wasn't really doing anything with the ball. So it was Maddison trying to make something happen. And sometimes he can't, because the movement's not there. And the intensity is important, lads. You see how Man City and Liverpool play? They zip it about, boom, 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 boom. And they're very accurate. So we've got to get better at that, or get better players in those positions, like you said, Dave. somebody who can hold the ball and drive forward and create those openings for us. Yeah.
And Ellie, final question from myself here, which is in the title of the show, and you might think it's a stupid question, or if you overthink it enough, maybe there is something. What do you think? Europa League, is that better for Spurs?
Do you know what? I'm going to quote Bill Nicholson, right? It's better to aim high, right? I don't want to aim low. I don't want to go for the Europa League. I don't care whether we're not good enough to win it. If you're in it, you've got a chance of winning it. Look how we did in 2019. Nobody gave us a good prayer to get to the final. We would have gone far, but not to get to the final. And we had really good players as well. We probably had more technically gifted players then than we've got now in general, you know. But if you're in it, you've got to go and win it, right? So why would we want to play Europa League?
Yeah.
You know, and even if we don't win it and we get third in our group, we could finish in the Europa League anyway. But I like to aim big. Like Bill Nicholson said, go for the big prizes, you know, and I'm sure Ange Postecoglou doesn't want to play in the Europa League. He wants to go with big boys. You know, if we're a big boy club as we're pertaining to be, we've got to be in the big competitions. Right, and we go for it, you know, and then we strengthen as well. We strengthen with that De Bruyne type player. Scout one out. We've got that Bergvall. He's a young boy, but he looks good. Yeah. When I've seen him, he's looked really, really good. So he might be the missing catalyst. But we do need more experience as well, because however good you are, right, as a youngster, you need the experienced players random. Like when Liverpool beat Chelsea, they brought on their youngsters, but it was the experienced ones who were gelling them and telling them and guiding them what to do, right? And obviously Klopp gave them a mission to keep the ball. So you can win with youngsters, but you need experience. You really do to see out a season, you know?
No, I agree. I agree.
I
You know, if you're going to bring through youngsters, you got to drip them in. You know, in with some experienced players. What you can't do is put out a whole team of youngsters and expect us to kick on. But look, Bergvall, he's definitely too good for the Scottish League or for the Swedish League. Ellie, you know, he's absolutely ripping it up. So you know, but let's see if he can make that step up. It's a huge ask. It's a huge ask. But look, we'll wait and see what happens. But Ellie, great to speak to you again, and you know, I'll definitely be speaking to you more at the North London Derby, where we go and get our curry afterwards, which I cannot wait for. But where can people find you?
Yeah, they can find me at Just a Girl Who Loves Spurs. I was on there today with Kate and Shang and Jimbo. It was a really good show. We had a really good conversation, had a laugh along the way. And I want to big up my girl Kate, because she's been invited by We Are Tottenham TV on their panel tomorrow. So big up, Kate. Well done. You see? And he came into our chat today. It was either Ben or Sim, one of the two, or maybe even both of them. So they're scouting out our Kate. So she's been picked.
She's gone big time.
Yeah, she's gone big time. She's already on the terrace. She was on the terrace this afternoon as well. So she's doing well for the channel. And she's such a good lady as well. She's got a very good heart, you know, and she done something for me today, which was really funny. She done like this cartoon caricature of me coming back as Queen Ellie, but Queen Ellie is back. So I really like that. It was really nice of her, lovely touch. And that's what she likes. She's very generous. And Mia, I want to big up Mia as well, because she works like a Trojan for everybody, doing thumbnails for herself, her other people. You know, she works so hard on her channel, and she deserves all the success.
Trojan. Great word.
Yeah.
Well, Ellie, big yourself up. Really appreciate you coming on and having a discussion with us today. I definitely agree with a lot of what you've had to say there. You get back to looking after Angela. And by the way, send Angela best wishes from myself and Jack and everyone in the chat as well. Big up Angela in the comments. You know, hashtag Ange get better in the comments. That'll be absolutely brilliant.
That's Bobby K calls her Angela. A big up to Bobby K as well. All right. And big up to Talk and Ball, Colin and Jose, Eltel Cockerell. All subscribe to Talk and Ball and Eltel Cockerell and the Free Spurs boys. That's me done. Take care, boys. Enjoy
Go
the
and have
rest
your
of
dinner.
the show.
Great calling as per usual, Ellie.
Have a
Good to
good
see
Bye-bye.
you.
Up the
Have a
Spurs.
good-
Come on, you
Come on, you
Spurs.
Spurs.
Oh, I cannot wait to meet up with Ellie over there at the game. She's absolutely great crack to go to a game too. She's more passionate than I am sometimes at games, which I thought would be hard to find. But everybody, make sure you get across. That's where you can find Ellie over at just a girl who loves Spurs, and smash that subscribe button over there and big up Ellie and everyone. Big her daughter, just make sure you give her a big up in the chat. I know they're watching. She hasn't been too good. She's on the recovery, so guys, get in there and show her some love. But look, Jack, I suppose we'll keep this moving, my man. Who have we got next?
Believe we have Mia, the one and only, who just got that shout out. So I know we brought up first question with Ellie was Højbjerg. Maybe we should bring up Rambam as the first question with Mia, because she got to get a Romero goal.
Big up Højbjerg's #1 fan. How are you keeping?
And Romero.
I think you're mistaken me. It's the wrong Greek. It's the other Greek lady.
The Greek lady, right. We got a
Um,
Rambam on the weekend. Mia, did you see it coming? And it was a very important one, right? It
Oh,
was the go-ahead goal.
I was absolutely going mental, Jack. Honestly, my boys wondering what the hell was going on because I was screaming like an absolute maniac, and I actually felt quite emotional watching him because the way he grabs the shirt, that pure passion and love. I absolutely love that. And of course, with my favourite guy who wears my lucky number as well.
Exactly.
So he's got it all.
I saw a tweet, Ellie, that said it is Romero to see that his version of kissing the badge is violently ripping the badge off of his shirt, basically, is his version of doing it. I would say, though, on that header, just quickly, I mean, Madison got the assist, but I had said in the watch along that I didn't even think it was that impressive of a ball or anything like that. I actually had felt like, honestly, Romero's header was stunning to me. Like, I didn't even know where he got the power from, how he got it past Sam Johnston in the first place. Like, it really was an impressive header for me.
Yeah, no, it was. And you could tell he wanted that badly. Like, he wanted to get there. And that wanting, sometimes it gets you that bit further, doesn't it? Further to be able to get it because he just wanted it. I do think that it was good for Madison. I thought that little, he sort of hit it up. I thought that was pretty inventive because we had been struggling really to try and do something a bit different. So in a way, I think that it was good because it all came from a throw-in as well. So we took that throw-in quite quick and, got the job done. I was absolutely over the moon. Absolutely over the moon.
I think it was a good idea by Madison. I do think Romero made the most of it. I don't think it was as accurate. It was Romero that made the most of that. And to find the bottom corner as well, trying to get a ball in front of his man, win that header and direct it as well. Not an easy thing to do. But just before we move on from Ron Bommius, which, a bit like you, me, I don't really want to. I absolutely love the guy. But, there was a lot made about him earlier on this season about his sort of him being rash and stuff like that. We're not having these conversations anymore. Has he toned it down?
Yeah, I think so, because he came out with a statement, didn't he, about how he had to calm it down, and he's made a real effort to be able to do that. So big up to him, because not everybody recognises things in themselves that they're at fault for. He could have been stubborn about it, but no, he realised and came out and said, "Listen, I needed to calm down. I need to remain calm when I'm playing games, basically." And even though opponents I come up against, I respect my opponents, and that he's gonna try for the team not to get those cards because it does affect the team. So he has worked on it. And it shows because he hasn't had a yellow card this year.
Does any of you miss it though? I'm not gonna lie, I sort of miss it. I'm not gonna lie.
Listen, I think that Matty Cash might be his first one that he gets this season this year, because when he comes up against Matty Cash, he was eyeballing him at that stadium. Because I didn't get to see Romero, did I, when I went up there to watch them, because he was on the sidelines, but he was eyeballing Matty Cash real bad. So it might be his first one with him, I think.
And look, if he does take a red for it, I encourage everyone to give him a free pass because, when it did happen to Bentancur, everyone said it's okay, Romero, we'll sort him out. But me, I want to ask you, are you getting frustrated with some of the football that's been on display over the last while? Like even Paris, although we won 3-1, it took us 75 minutes to really sort of get going.
Yeah, it is really frustrating. I think when we come up against the low blocks, we do find it very difficult. We're not moving the ball quick enough. We're not just taking chances, Dave. Like it feels like that we're not taking those risks. See, when Destiny, he had room in the box and he didn't. He just passed it back. Joe, how much I screamed at him for that. I was like, "What are you doing? You've got space. Don't pass it back because you don't know where it might ping. You do it hard and low. You don't know where that's going to go, right? It could easily get deflected. Just do something. Don't keep passing it back. You had that opportunity, Destiny. You're in the box, damn it." And I think it's those things, Dave, that I find really frustrating. It's that slow side-to-side passing. And then at one point, I wrote in my note, so they passed back to Vic. But I wrote FFS because I was like, why are you passing back to Vicario? Jesus, what are you doing? Like, that's why I was screaming in the first half. I was screaming profanities at them. So I was getting so frustrated. We just need to move quicker, take some risks, take those risks. Because Joe, what when you're in their box, do you know what I mean? We could easily try and win it back because if we're all in and around the box, quickly win that ball back, try again. Smother them. Don't allow them to sit back in their shape and just allow that to happen all the time. You need to move people out of position. You need to be quicker. You need to do something different because that will panic the defence. No, like sometimes when you see them those last ditch tackles and stuff that the defence have to do. Make them do those. Make them do them. Do you know what I'm saying? But we play it safe way too often. So it's frustrating.
I'm glad you said that because you're a lot more patient than I am. So if you're starting to lose a bit of patience with it, I feel like mine is justified. Jacko, where do you want to steer this conversation next?
Dave had a good question in the beginning of the show about the whole meritocracy basis when it comes to some of the players. Brendan Johnson came on and practically won us the game, or definitely helped significantly in us winning that game. Do you play him ahead of Kulusevski in the next match, Mia, or do you kind of stick with what's been working? Him as this sort of impact.
Do you know, I think that Brendan Johnson needs to come off the bench a few more times for confidence because I think that it's his confidence that gets him. So I think that he comes off the bench and he seems to do a lot better because it's like he wants to prove a point. So I actually don't think I would start him. I know that he did win the game and he was brilliant. When he come on, obviously he missed that first chance, but he was running at players. He was dangerous. And also, when you've got someone who's quick, after a team's tired out, he's the perfect one to bring on, right? Because he can run at them and they're tired. So I do think that he's probably, for Villa as well, we're going to have more space. It won't be as compact. So I just think that maybe bringing him on is a better idea, personally, though I do think he did well and I'm really pleased for the boy. I did say I wanted him to come good and I don't think he's been he's been bad in points and I do get that, but we need to give him that chance and that confidence. So I think that's what needs to be done and I think that's what we're doing.
Yeah, so stick with what's working and that will give him even more confidence. Like you don't even need to rush it, right? Don't break.
No, I think so.
Don't fix what ain't broke right now. I'd agree with that. Then for the other winger, Timo Werner finally scored for Spurs. What do you make of him so far? And are you frustrated with him? Still taking your time, patience, word? What do you think of that, Timo?
That one-on-one, a player that hasn't got confidence doesn't score that. Someone with confidence like a Sonny, you saw what happened. He scored it. So he does have that lacking confidence, and you can tell. But he is dangerous. Like he was taking his man on, and he did do quite well. And I think he's in the right place at the right time. And I do think that's good for him and to get his confidence up. Do I think he's good enough to buy? I'm still reluctant to say yes on that matter. I'm still reluctant to say yes. But we need him in the team now to help out. And is he doing that? Yeah, he is helping out. So I think that when you look at the goal contributions of Brennan Johnson and Timo Werner, I don't think they're as bad as what people actually think. So, I think that people are probably, they're very, like, a lot of people, they don't like a player automatically. And then they always go, oh, well, they're rubbish. They don't do anything. I just think that you've just got to maybe give him a little bit more of an opportunity, I would say, to see what he can do.
I heard great analysis of their 2 one-on-ones, Sonny and Timo Werner's, where with Sonny's, they basically said it felt like time had slowed down once he was, played clean through. But then with Werner's, it was like time had sped up, actually, because of the way that, and it just sort of speaks to the two players that when it was Sonny played him behind, probably even Crystal Palace fans were probably like, yep, that's game. That's game over probably before he even shot it. Whereas with Werner, like everybody's sort of on the edge of their seat. Like they don't know whether he's going to bury it or not. And that does say a lot.
Well, Werner started 5, 1 goal, and how many assists was it? 2, a couple of assists, isn't he?
He's on 3 or 4 now, isn't he?
Yeah. So whilst I don't think he's obviously prolific, I don't think 2 assists. So I don't think he's actually. What I'm trying to say is, for that amount of games, can we really complain? Because that's what we brought him in for.
How many goal outputs do you think he needs in order for you to say sanction, bring him in here for the 16 odd million this summer? 10, 15?
12.
12. Okay.
Yeah, I think 12's reasonable. I think that would be a reasonable output for his position, and also the fact that we can obviously switch him if we do have someone else, but I just don't think he's going to get that. I'm going to be honest. But yeah, I do think he will get a few more. I think he will get a few more, but will he get as much as that? Probably not. I don't think.
What did Kulusevski finish with again? In that half a season, he finished with like
15 or something, wasn't it?
Yeah,
something crazy.
Like that.
So would have to be something maybe close 12, to that for Spurs 13, fans to look at it.
That would be reasonable for us to say. But yeah, like I say, I know he's feeling frustrated for some people, and people find it like everyone's like, up in arms. And I don't think we are. People are saying, we are going to buy him, but I've read around, and there's been also reports saying that we're not going to buy him, that it's not like going to happen. So you can't. People want to believe one because it fits their kind of thing of, oh my God, they're going to buy him, the club are going to buy him. But actually, you can read both ways because both things have been said. Let's wait and see, I suppose, with Werner, what happens.
Look, I agree with you. Let's wait and see. I think it's too early to call one way or another whether Spurs are going to sanction the money or not anyway. But maybe last question from me, and I did have it in my head, and I'm after losing it now. Just give me 1 second. I'm after losing the question. Oh, no, I haven't. I remember it. Sonny, down the middle, how do you think he got on at the at the weekend?
I think that the first half was frustrating, but I think it was frustrating for everybody. I'm going to be honest. I think that first half, nobody was particularly good attacking wise. But the second half, he definitely did step up. He was much, much better and improved in that second half. And of course, that 1-1, like I say, if anyone's going to get that goal, it will be Sonny. So yeah, I think that second half, I feel that the turning point was not only when they scored, but after that, when Maddison got that free kick and he got in the face of one of their players and got a bit riled up, that to me is when things sort of turned a little bit more, and we just seemed to click and have a bit more energy about us. So I think that for me, that's when we started creating so much better, and we just seemed to have that bit more space. We just don't know what happened, but we just clicked. And I think that Sonny in that moment, I think he did do much better, because that first part of that second half, again, it was very meh. But we did just click, and I do think Sonny was decent down the middle for sure.
I was getting frustrated on his behalf. The lack of ball into him was absolutely pissing me off. The fact he was having dropped back to centre midfield just to have a touch and move again, it was
just frustrating all round, wasn't it? Let's be honest. But once we clicked, Dave, the most frustrating thing is that we can play like that. We've proved it, and we can break down a low block when we do play like that. We've proved it. But the fact is that we don't do it from the beginning. Why? Do you know what I mean? Like, why?
Yeah, and look, that's a massive problem, I think. Well, it's not a massive problem, but it's something Andrew's going to have to get sorted out heading into next weekend. And then I think the fixtures coming up in April.
Listen, I think it's a work in progress. It's a work in progress. And he even said it. He said it many a time. It's going to take him a few summers, like windows. It's going to take him a little bit of time to get everybody to adjust. And listen, I'm on board with that. I don't get myself all worked up about it because I'm seeing it as a bigger picture. So I just think it will take that bit of time, and it is frustrating at the moment to watch. But when you do watch that last bit, those last 25 minutes, you're like, wow, that was exciting. That was just brilliant to watch. So yeah.
It gave me joy. I won't lie, you know. I was very angry before then, but it gave me, you know, it saved my weekend. I was supposed to save many people's weekend. But me, a great conversation as always. Why do people need to get over to your great channel, Spurs Between the Lines, and smash the subscribe button?
Because I do provide content. I'm quite a balanced person, I would say, and I'm always willing to listen to everybody's opinions, Dave. I'm quite an open person, as you can, as you know. Although we and you have had our back and forths, it never goes further than that conversation about football, because I'm just not like that as a person. We have fun on my channel. We've got some really good people on my channel. Like the community is lovely. I do member shows myself, so you can come on and have your say as well. So yeah, I do all different kind of content, and make sure you subscribe to everybody, because we should share the love. Like Ellie said, I do believe in sharing it around to everybody, because in this community we should like stick together, even if we do have a difference of opinion. I think it's good to like stick together and support each other.
No, absolutely spot on. Do you know what? Couldn't have said it better myself, Mia. And Mia, thank you very much. Really have enjoyed the conversation today, and we'll speak again very, very soon.
Take good care of yourselves, guys.
Big up, Mia. Have a good rest of your week.
Enjoy your evening. Bye.
Big up Spurs Between the Lines.
Everybody, please do get over to Mia. She works extremely hard on her channel. Extremely hard, you know, making sure there's a lot of content out there nearly every single day. And she's a one-woman show over there. So make sure you get over there and show her the love. She pumps out content. Those member shows, absolutely great variety of content. And again, you know, she's a great to myself and Jack, you know, whenever we need her or anything like that, or whenever there's a big discussion to be had, me is always available to come on and share our points of view. And we absolutely adore her over here. So please get over there and show her the love on Spurs Between the Lines. Now, I think it's time for delusional time, is it?
Is that right? Yeah, let me check on the order there. No, actually, Dave. No. A little too soon on the delusion on the Tronicles, as you said earlier. Sean Maddox is coming on next. Lovely, Sean.
Oh, Shawnee, let's go. A bit of solace and peace before delusion. Let's get him on and hear what he has to say. Shawnee boy, how are you keeping, sir?
I'm doing well. Again, I felt like 70 minutes into that game, I was like, there goes the weekend. I'll be just kind of annoyed all of Saturday. But no, again, I feel like when you're at your peak and losing it in the watch along, Spurs wake up and then they start scoring some goals. It's kind of like all those Brennan Johnson last minute winners, where you just slag him off for like 85 minutes, and out of nowhere he just comes running into the back post, tapping something away, and we're like, oh, okay, cool. He's still got it.
Definitely.
But again, I think that's been kind of the frustration, is we have not had a quality sit there, watch us just dominate a game and kind of control the flow of the game for months. And again, I feel like that's where I've been a little jealous sometimes when I've been watching the Villa game. Is Villa comes out, they start battering the other team, and then as a Villa fan, I'm like, they could probably sit there fairly comfortable, kind of their team got this covered, they're closing it out. And that's what I want to see from Angeball, is really start racking that score line up and just be like, okay, we can sit here, no almost heart attacks, no late drama. But at the same time, I guess maybe that's what's making them so excited to watch, though. We can't call them boring at all.
That's true.
No, it's roller coasters only, actually. It feels like with Spurs, there's no such thing as an easy game or a predictable one of any kind. It's, to a degree, it's become predictable in the fact that it's almost a roller coaster on every game. You know, you'd be surprised, actually, if it did end up being like a 4-0, you know, easy ride for Spurs. It just hasn't gone that way for pretty much ever, you know, since the beginning of the season. You did say just a random minute mark. You said the 70th minute mark. There is a question here from Dave saying that we barely tested the Palace keeper for 75 minutes. Did we take enough risks in possession, is Dave's question here. I think it's a good question, but I also want to slightly tune it up because I'd actually disagree with some of that. Like I felt like we probably had enough chances to go ahead and to score, right, Sean? It felt like Spurs, it wasn't the most convincing of performance, but I do think we still deserved to win. Like we had the penalty shout, Timo Werner's 1-on-1, Sonny hit the post, Brennan Johnson missed from inside the 6-yard box, with that one chance. Felt like we probably had done enough to get enough goals.
Yeah, no, again, I think we were creating kind of some chances, and again, we had a lot of the ball. Again, I think it's just we aren't, for the amount that we're having the ball, even in the opponent's half, we're not converting that into as many dangerous chances. I mean, if you look at the Man City numbers, they had 27 shots against Man United. We're not getting those shots off in anywhere near enough, considering how much we're getting on the ball. And again, I think that's part of that has to be Madison ripping up some from distance. Again, it's that same thing we've been kind of frustrated with all season of us trying to create that perfect goal, that extra pass, rather than someone taking it and being like, I'm going to smash this shot as hard as I can. Because when someone does that, if the keeper can't save it, it's a rebound, it could go anywhere, creates more chaos, and we're not doing that enough. Where someone is just like, and that's why Kane was so good, was he'd be like, I have a yard, I'm going to rip a shot. Even if it wasn't always the 100% best angle, was he would find some space. And again, I think that forces the defenders to then go and close you down. If you're going to start shooting, it creates a little more space. So again, I think that's one of our biggest problems is we're not converting our possession to shots.
Yeah. No, absolutely spot on. I agree with you. It's one of my biggest frustrations. I absolutely agree with you. If you try different things, shoot, and you get them on target, force people to come out and close you down, creates areas for you to pop the ball around and stuff like that. Completely agree with you. But what I need to know is, Shawnee, from your point of view, is that instructions or is that players just not taking the responsibility on themselves?
I think it has to be the players to a degree. Like we've seen beginning of the season where the players were taking more of those shots, and you see how mad Ange is on the sideline. Like whenever they cut to him, it looks like he's about to go and rip someone's head off. So I don't think he can be sitting there giving them instructions, them following that, and him being as like clearly annoyed as he is. And again, it's hard to kind of fully figure out, okay, what's going on that's entirely different. Again, I feel like a lot of times we aren't playing with that urgency. And again, that's where I get kind of frustrated. I'm like, if we're not seeing that urgency from these senior players, take one of them out and throw in a youngster. Even if the level drops off a little bit, it shows the senior players that, hey, if you're not going to do this, I will look elsewhere for someone who will run and follow instructions.
Yep.
Senior players will learn very quickly. They'll be like, okay, I want to keep playing. I don't want to get subbed off at halftime and kind of be embarrassed like that. And I think it quickly sets things to that standard of this is what I expect. If you're not going to do it, then you can sit on the bench. And we'll find a new team for you to play for next year.
I absolutely love that. You're singing right off my script, Shawnee, right off my hymn sheet, my man. I couldn't agree more. And that's where I'm at. Look, don't get me wrong. Madison, he put the ball in the box for Romero, but I do agree with Jack. I think Romero made the most of that. I don't think it was a great ball. It was a good idea. But, Madison, for large parts of that game, just passing it on sideways. And everyone's passing it to him because they're looking at him going, okay, but, this is what you do, Madison. And then he passes it back to them. For me, I don't understand why Donnelly wasn't on that bench at the weekend after his performance at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium the week before. And if Madison didn't want to do it, you haul him off, you bring on Donnelly and give him the 15 minutes or 20 minutes to go and, see what he can do. I completely agree with that.
Although
Jack,
the Before we fully transition off of that, I do want to at least give Madison a little bit more credit in that there was the midfield and kind of the forwards movement wasn't great for a lot of that game. So if they don't start moving, those spaces that Madison likes to hit don't fully open up. I still think that he hasn't been playing very well, and he's got to kind of pick his game back up. But I think it was partially hurt by everyone else not moving off the ball. And that's part of the problem is it's not just one player. It's most of the team is not doing enough of that off the ball work.
Let me ask you on that, because it was only so long ago people were moaning that people weren't finding Timo Werner's runs. So is the problem they're not running off the ball because players know that it's not going to come to them and because of the way we're playing? Or, you think do you think the problem is that, you don't, there isn't people running off the ball and that's why we're playing the way we're playing?
I think it's a bit of both. Again, sometimes you're not seeing the winger necessarily make the run, or they're making the same run every time and they're not changing it up. But at the same time, the midfielders also have to be moving off the ball. Again, when we're at some of our best attack is when someone gets the ball at their feet and they dribble it forward and break the lines. That's what Romero does so well. When he picks the ball up and decides to go move into that midfielder, Destiny Udogis, they break that line and start to create an overload. And we're not seeing enough of that. I don't know why our players aren't doing that as much anymore, but that's part of it. It's not just the wingers or the forwards that have to be moving. It's kind of everyone. And again, that's also where I want to give some credit to Emergoat on that right back, filling in. Again, he was everywhere. I do think that VDV was phenomenal in that back line, but Emerson was really moving around, picking the ball up, creating some pressure. And it's kind of when they start pushing forward, it kind of lets everyone else push forward too. And again, he just had a really solid game. He was my man of the match for the performance on Saturday. But again, I think VDV was probably a close second.
I had felt like Emerson had just, in certain moments, basically made game-saving blocks or sort of goal-saving blocks to a degree at certain stages. So that's what slightly put him above Van de Ven for me. But on Twitter Reacts, people were pointing out that Van de Ven is practically unfair. Sean, would you say that? Where he is at that? Is he at 22 years old? He's only 22. Is he really that good of a player where he is practically an unfair player to come up against? Like, he's just not fun.
I mean, we couldn't play our system. We couldn't play our system without VDV in the bag. He provides that recovery pace. I mean, sometimes you'll see the fullbacks, like we've seen Emerson sprinting back at times to cut some of those off. But again, you need that pace play. And again, you could see him, VDV, just bullying their forward off of the ball. Again, I think when I was watching Kyle Walker over in the City game, you saw that a few times with Rashford, where Walker was just fast and physically strong and was able to just come in even from behind and just get in front of the forward and take the ball off. And VDV does that so well, which you kind of need to be able to. And again, I think the system works well because with everyone pushing up, it means the balls are going over the top and VDV has time to get to full speed on that sprint, which plays to his strengths there in terms of, I think in like that mid distance, he's kind of unbeatable. I don't think he's going to be the fastest on that short distance, but that mid distance absolutely dominates once he's kind of got a chance to open that stride up.
I love it because everyone sees the ocean of space in behind. They're like, oh, just pop that over. And then Van de Ven, unleashes the hamstrings and away he goes. And he just clears. Oh, I was actually very impressed with how he handled Mateta's strength as well. That was maybe one concern with Mateta, although, Van de Ven's quicker, would Mateta be able to bully him? And he didn't. Van de Ven held his own, which I was very impressed with, I have to say.
Yeah. Maybe one last question from us here, Shawnee. Not sure if we did ask you this though. But Johnson, Kulusevski, do you have a choice between the two this weekend? Do you believe in the merit that maybe Johnson should play because of the contribution he made?
I think that Kulusevski has not been at his best for a few weeks now, and we've seen Johnson coming off the bench in multiple games to kind of have that impact. So I would say you probably start him. And again, I think that what we're seeing is improvement over Johnson, especially from the start of the season, where he's getting a lot better. I was actually seeing some stats that he has some phenomenal dribble numbers, but I mean the main problem was that he doesn't cut in often enough. But we're starting to see that now he's getting a bit more of that confidence. That instead of just dribbling down the line, now he's starting to look, oh, can I go inside and create kind of that more dangerous play? And again, like we saw that beautiful cross earlier, I think you have to reward that. Again, if he's not kind of maintaining those numbers as a starter, then Ange pulls him aside and he's like, hey, you've been great off the bench. We're not seeing these starting numbers, so I'm going to kind of bench you for a little while. But I think he deserves the opportunity because, again, I just think Kulusevski has not quite been in form. And again, even as such, if you bench Kulusevski, then that might get him fired up to that next level, to pull him off the bench, and I might be like, oh, well, if Johnson can do it, then I can do it even better. So I think that's how you get that competition, is by saying, hey, if you're not winning, I'm gonna rotate you, and you got to raise your game. And by sticking with those same players, you kind of defeat the purpose of all that competition you're introducing into the squad.
Fair point.
Maybe very last one. Are you a Steve Nash fan? Did you see that Kulusevski Steve Nash interview?
I did not see it. I don't watch as much NBA. I watch a lot of college ball, but not much NBA.
Okay, well, check it out in case you like it at all. But big up, Shawnee. Thanks for coming on. Thanks for coming in early as well. Great discussion as always. Appreciate your support, sir. And yeah, hopefully you have a good rest of your week, especially with work and everything like that. Hopefully everything's going okay.
Yeah, no, always a pleasure. Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs. Big up, Sean. Absolutely great call from Sean. He really enjoyed that. I always do when Shawnee comes down. Big him up in the chat there, everybody. Now, Jack, I'm just going to stand up and stretch my back. So I'm going to turn off my camera for 1 second, leave my mic on. I can hear everything. Let's bring on Mr. Delusion.
Seems like you're hiding maybe from the Tron, right before.
I feel like he's running away from me.
Yeah, I think he's running away here.
I think he is. I think this Egypt from
he's talking a lot of smack. He's talking a lot of smack.
Yeah, he is. I'm not delusional. I don't know where this delusional came from. I'm just a normal,
because you give yourself that title probably every day.
I am delusional. I know I'm not the full beans, but I really am quite normal. As I put in the chat, I am not mad. I'm just normal.
He's delusional, but he is normal.
I am delusional.
Tron, maybe your favorite player, Brennan Johnson, came on and won the game. Same question, since we were just on it with Sean. We were just on it with Sean, so might as well continue it. Do you play him ahead of Kulusevski in the next game?
No. And the reason why, I think at the moment he's doing a better job coming on as a sub than he is playing from the start, because I feel as he plays more, if he plays for 90 minutes, you can see him getting tired as the game's going on. So if you bring him on with half an hour to go, he's got that burst of energy, because don't forget, all the other defenders are tired. Kulu hasn't been playing that badly. He's just had something there that's not working, but I don't think it justifies him for dropping in for Johnson, because Johnson, anytime we've started Johnson from the start, how much as I love the guy, how much as I think he's going to be a great talent, he's always let us down. He's got tired. So bring him on for half an hour to go. Let him burst his energy for that half an hour at tired defenses. So I don't think so. Though it's up to Ange, but personally, I think you start with Kulu and you take Johnson off. You bring Johnson off the bench for half an hour to go. Personally, for me, but he is going to be. He's going to be a great talent. Don't get me wrong. He will be. He could be on the same level as Gareth Bale. But if you look at the games he's played from the start, he tires. And there's no point doing that. You want to use him at his best. At his best, half an hour to go, let him run at the defenders because they will make mistakes because they're tired. So that's what I do.
Do you know what? I was actually surprised by that answer, Dermot. I thought you'd be straight in for Brennan Johnson to start. Do you know what? I actually agree with you. And I'm going to just give a quick reason why. I've been trying to avoid these conversations tonight so we can get more of your opinions. But I think the thing that everyone's missing with Kulusevski is his ball carrying ability, the strength, getting back, helping back on the right back and stuff. It's going to be very important away from home against Aston Villa. Someone to be able to carry that ball. And on that basis, that's why I start Kulusevski. But if he has a shit game, Brennan Johnson can come straight in for the next one after. I just think with the physicality of Aston Villa, I think it would be more suited to Kulusevski starting and getting a hold of the ball and getting us up the field. And then, like you said, bringing Brennan Johnson in to exploit them when they got tired. You're seeing with Luton, they got tired during the week. They nearly got caught. And that's where Brennan Johnson could really make the impact. And I think it'd be best served for him this game. Just my opinion.
Yeah. And Danny in the chat, it's my opinion. So there you go. Everyone has an opinion. and everyone has an opinion. That's what she said. So never mind. We'll carry on.
But look, it was good impact from Brennan Johnson, though, right? He brought a lot of endeavour. He worked hard for the assist for the first goal.
He did, and he played well. But I thought for me, Werner was the man of the match for me. He was outstanding. He was good. Romero was good. Van der Ven was good, but Werner, I was so pleased he got his goal. I am knowing he should have scored in the first half. What everyone thinks he should have scored, but he was there at the right time, at the right place to bang in the goal. So fair play to him. And Johnson did it. Johnson created the goal, and he's got more assists, I think, than anybody else in the Premier League at the moment for coming off the bench or something. Some stat going around. He's got 9 assists now. So fair play to him. And fair play to Werner. And I thought it was a good win on Saturday. Not very hard to break a low block side down. We struggle with it. Absolutely, we do struggle with it. But we got there in the end. 3 points is 3 points. And that's all we want in the end of the day. That's all we want on Saturday evening is Tottenham to win, get 3 points. It doesn't matter how we do it or how we go about it. It's getting them 3 points, which keeps us in the race for top 4 for Champions League, keeps us up there chasing the pack. And it keeps us the momentum going. It keeps the confidence going within the team as well. So, long may it continue.
3 points definitely keeps us in it. But, are you concerned from the manner of the performance heading into this Villa game? Because I did say before the game, don't get me wrong, I'll take it if we have to scrape it. But for me, I did think the level of performance mattered, especially heading to Aston Villa away.
Villa's not going to be an easy game. We should not be any under illusions. That is a tough game away from home. Villa are on a good set of form themselves. So going there, we have to be at our best. We have to be 100% work hard. We can get result there. Of course we can. And I hope we do win. And I think will win. But it's going to be a hard game. If we get a point there, I think that would be a good result as well. We can't leave there with a loss. We have to leave there even with a point. I think we've got to leave there with something. Because if we lose against Villa, then I think that's our top 4 hopes over for this year. But top 5 could get you Champions League as well. So we see how that works out, shakes up at the end of the season. So we've got to be there and thereabouts.
That means you'd be rooting for some other English clubs this year, Dermatron, in hopes that they could do very well in the Champions League or the Conference League. You'd be rooting for an Aston Villa Conference League win. And by the way, the reason why it's even in doubt for English teams to get the 5 placements is because I'd say the Serie A teams, La Liga teams, or I think it's specifically Germany as well as Serie A, they did a very good job in the last 2 years of going far into competitions further than what Premier League teams have gone. So I don't know. I don't think the 5 spots are actually really certain. I don't think there are going to be 5 spots for England.
Yeah. Do you know? I look with the 5th spot. It's got to be that none of the German side won on the first legs in the Champions League or in Europe. So we've got the hope that some of them drop out tomorrow night. Bayern Munich can drop out. Other German teams can drop out. If we finish in the top 2, Italy will win that. Italy will come first. Serie A will come first. But if we finish second, we get the extra spot, which is absolutely crucial for us. And I've heard a lot tonight about, I think the Europa League is okay. I agree with Ellie.
Not from me. Not from me.
No,
I want
I
Champions
agree
League.
with Ellie. Champions League or nothing for me. The Europa League, yeah, it's good. We've been in it enough. To aim high, as Ellie said, Bill Nick, to aim high, you've got to go there. We've
been
got
in
to
it
give
enough.
it
You've gotten
everything
sick of the Europa League. You've gotten sick of it.
Look, the Europa League is, if you're in it, you've got to win it. And any European competition. Now, let's be fair. We were lucky to get to the Champions League final when we did. It was luck. We had a lot go our way to get to that final. And we didn't turn up. So, hence, we lost it. But I think we've got to aim for the Champions League. It's got to be the only competition you want to be in. It is the only competition you've got to aim for. At the start of the season, you can't win the league. What's the next thing? Going for the Champions League. Anything less is a failure. Anything less is just you're giving up. You're thinking that will do. Look, I know everyone's saying, but we haven't got a strong squad enough. So what size squad?
We'll build that over the summer, though.
We'll build that over the summer. We've got to go in there with the attitude is we're going for Champions League. Let's go for it. And when we're in there, we'll see where the hell it takes us. You know, we've done it before. We can do it again.
Look, for me, I do want Champions League. I can understand the argument if you go into Europa League.
Oh, I can.
Hopefully, you can go the distance. You know, you can test your squad a lot more. Maybe blood a couple of youngsters here and there in it and stuff like that. But for me, you're going to get games like that in the new Champions League format anyway. You're getting 8 games drawn in once you get into the league. You know, you're going to get some teams that are probably Europa League standard anyway at the bottom of that 32-team league. So for me, you still have that maybe flexibility. You know what? I just want to be in the new format. And plus, you know, I think it opens our doors to a better caliber of signings as well. You know, when we're in the Champions League, you know, you look at what we've pulled in with no Europe and with the Europa League. Imagine the caliber we can pull in then once we get to the Champions League. And for me, I just want that Champions League this summer. It opens up the door for us to be able to go and make a marquee signing on our return. Whether that happens or not, I'm not too sure. But we'll wait and see.
It gives you a better chance of getting the better players. It gives you the pulling power that you need. And look, I just think we've got to aim for it. And if we get 5th, that could be good enough for Champions League. If it is, fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. But we've got to beat Villa. We've got to get something out of the Villa game. We can't leave there with a loss. And Ange won't let that happen either. Ange will make sure these players are up for it.
Do you think we'll see any surprise changes to the lineup? Porro's probably expected to be back in defence, but in terms of midfield and forward line?
No, I don't think so. I think Porro would be back. But can I say what a good job Emerson's done against Crystal Palace on Saturday? He played well. Give him that. No, I didn't see the whole game. I saw extended highlights and that. So what I saw, I looked like he played well. But I don't think there'll be any changes apart from Porro. I think you start with the side that started against Palace. And look, Palace were hard to break down, but we got there in the end. We need to be patient. We need to be do you
know where the lack of patience in them games comes from? Is because we have been caught this season, and I think that's where a lot of the impatience probably comes around when you do have that amount of possession and go 1-0 down. You know, because of the last 15 games, it's been up and down. We have been caught an awful lot, and I think that's probably where the impatience is seeping in. I do get you that the fan base do need to show a bit of patience to this side and to this project, which I feel like a fraud asking the fan base for patience. We've been patient, you know, long enough, you know, but at the end of the day, you know, the team have to, you know, the team doing better will also give the fans more patience, in my opinion.
Yeah, and also, Danny, the top 2, if England get into second, them top 2 do get into the do get a 5th spot in the Champions League. I have done my research, and I've done my lot of research on it. It's the table where all the European teams are in, and Italy are top of that at the moment.
Oh, the coefficient is
second. Yeah, that's it. Italy are top, Germany is second, England are third. If England finish second with Italy, the top 2 get the 5th spot in the Champions League. That's how it works.
Right.
I have done my research on
Where
it.
are we
and
in the coefficient table?
We're third.
where's
England are third at the moment, but it depends how well the European English clubs do in the Conference League, in the Europa League, and in the Champions League. But you get points for how many games you win. You get points for if you win a home European title, you get a point. That country gets a point for that. It's a big list. It's very complicated, but it is.
Danny also adds here, Dermo, that Man City or Arsenal would need to get to a Champions League final for coefficiency points.
No, they don't. As far as I understand it, as far as I've read into it, they don't. It depends how far you get in. Like Liverpool will have to do well in the Europa League, or teams in the Conference League will have to do well. It depends how far your teams get in that competition. Now, I may be up for correction on that for what I've read into it and for what the research I've done to it. That's what I understand it, but I could be up for correction on that. But I'm not saying he's wrong, but that's the way I've read it. But I'm doing my research on that at the moment.
Okay.
So it's worth looking at. It's worth keeping an eye on because it could come for a massive shake-up at the end of the season.
Do you know what? I just don't want to have to rely on. I just don't want to have to rely on coefficiency. No. You know, that's the problem. I just want to go and get it done, dusted. Know that I'm in it.
So do I. So do I. And this is where the Villa game becomes so important. You have to get the points there on Sunday. And if you do, then you got it in your own hands because we've got a game in hand in them as well. You leave it in your own hands. I know that game in hands in Chelsea, but I don't fear Chelsea. I think we can go there and get points out there. So, and you know, we should be believing in ourselves. We can go out and do well in every game, and we should do. We should do. So I don't see why we can't believe we can get top four, and I think we will.
Well, look, you know, I definitely believe going into every game, probably more full meter. You know, that's, you know, I get that's why I probably get angry at the end of every season. But Dermo, great call, my man. Really appreciate the call in, brother. Where can people find you?
Yeah, if you like what I have to say, you can join me and Philip over THFC Till I Die at home at Tottenham past, present, and future under Ange Postecoglou. We've got the Unholy Trinity every Thursday with the man himself up there. The fallen angel Gabriel, as I've now christened him now, is sitting there with his halo half on, half off. Yeah, we do that every Thursday. We're going to be controversial in our thoughts and about world football. Yeah, we've got the Daily Hotspur news show every day at 4. We've got the 3-minute Tottenham now doing 3 times a week where Philip does 3 minutes of Tottenham news. We had the first one today. And yeah, we're doing the Formula 1 this weekend as well. We couldn't do it last week because of Tottenham, but this weekend I'm doing both free practices and the qualifying and the race over on our other channel, THFC F1 Do or Die as well. So please give that a subscribe and give a subscribe on our main channel as we march on to 2K. So it'd be really appreciated if you could. A lot of work goes into the channel. As you well know, Mia works hard. I spend 11, 12, 13 hours a day at a computer doing thumbnails and like Mia does as well. So a lot of work goes into these channels and a lot of preparation, as you guys well know. So a subscription is all we ask for. So thank you so much indeed. And please subscribe to the guys above me. They're the one that ship on my channel. Dave and Jack have been really good friends, probably the best friends anyone could ask for over the last couple of years. They've always stuck by me, been there to pick me up when I needed picking up, and they've enjoyed the good times and they've seen me at my worst. So I couldn't ask for 2 better mates, 2 better brothers than these 2 up there. So please hit a like and subscription on them as well, please. And Mia's channel as well.
Appreciate that, Tron. Well, Tron, you go off and enjoy your evening, sir. And we'll speak to you again very, very soon, my man.
I'm going to go off and watch Big Brother now. And I won't spoil it for you.
No, do not spoil it for me because I'll be straight on that as soon as I'm finished here, my man. So do not give me any spoilers.
It hasn't been on for years, so I'm looking forward to it tonight, actually. I don't know who's in it. So.
I can't wait. Anyway, Tron, we'll let you go, my man. We'll speak again soon.
Have a good night. Have a good night, Tron.
Come on, you Spurs.
Big up, my man.
Night, Tron. Everybody get over and show the Tronicle some love over there at THFC Till I Die. Smash that subscribe button on the big hunt for 2K. Him and Philip brilliant on the pre-match build-up the other day. And again, you know, Dermot's a very good friend of mine. Very nice lad. So make sure you get over there and smash the subscribe button. And he also works as hard as Mia and as everybody else does on their channel. So just for that alone, smash that subscribe button. But Kuva99, good to see you, my man. Hopefully you're keeping well. He's gifted 5 Hotspur memberships.
Very
Wow,
generous.
Really appreciate that. Who's the lucky recipients, Jack? Who owes Kuva?
Very generous, Kuva. Thank you, sir. Stefan Blois gifted a membership by the one and only Kuva. Alistair Tretowan, big up to you, Alistair. AK Shegs, Timothy Whitaker, and Callum Roach or Callum Rock. Please, everybody, take advantage of Kuva's generosity, exclusive content, extra sort of perks and benefits come your way. You even get to use a few emojis and stickers and things like that. Also, like I even said, when things get a little bit busier, sort of in the live chat, it can be even a little helpful that your name actually just shines or sticks out a bit above the others, because it is hard to see everybody's name always in the house as well. So appreciate you, Kuva. Very, very generous. And then also as well, he's said for the first time, I want us to get the Champions League spot purely for the cash. We need players still, and we know the owners won't spend their own money. So he's sort of, I think, yes, like kind of still angry that we have to operate this sort of way, but he's also in a sense being a bit realistic about how Spurs tend to go about it, where if we are to want to really get top quality players this summer, the Pedro Neto signing, an Eze signing, something like that probably would break the bank a little bit. That's sooner going to happen if a Champions League were to be achieved this season, right? With all the money and the benefits that come from that. And Kuva's thinking in the mindset of how Spurs have kind of thought about things in the past, kind of the Spurs mentality when it comes to how much they'll think about spending.
Look, he's absolutely spot on. We know we know the owners aren't going to put in hundreds of £1 million of their own money. We know what their business plan is now, whether we agree with it or not. They want to operate the club sustainably off operate off the money that they generate. Okay, so I think he's absolutely spot on. With teams very close to the brim of financial fair play heading into this summer, us getting into Champions League should extend that gap a little bit further for us with the more money that comes in. But also, let's not forget that Kuva today, I think I've seen it, that Daniel Levy applied to the local council to get permission to put more events or double up on the events at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium to be able to generate even more revenue for Tottenham Hotspur. We'll see how that goes ahead. But I think, look, whether we like it or not, this is just the way it's going to have to be. We have to get as much revenue coming in as we can and maximize it the best we can. And look, so far, over the last couple of years, we've done all right in that regard. Hopefully this summer we'll be able to use what we do have and be able to go and sort of push on and hopefully, be able to compete in the Champions League next season or compete a lot better than what we did last time out underneath Antonio Conte. But look, I agree with him in terms of we still need players. Where's that money going to come from the summer? I'd like to think there's already money allocated. But if you go into the Champions League, they'll probably allocate you a bit of a higher budget this summer than what they would have if you got qualified for Europa League or a Conference League. So I do think it does matter in that regard. Kuva, absolutely spot on, my man. Let me know what you think of the owners applying to double up on the amount of concerts and stuff like that, events at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Jack, you sort of said it earlier on, it looks like this is the way. Actually, I think
it was Ellie, yeah.
Service.
Yeah. It was Brad as well that sort of brought up that it's kind of the way that football is headed, right? That it's, teams are just going to look for the maximum amount of usage from their stadiums, from their event spaces as they can. Everything's about just juicing, just getting the most juice out of whatever property and whatever business you might have. And that's definitely the case with Spurs. For me, Kuva, though, I do agree with you. I think the better chance of us having a better squad is probably with Champions League. More Champions League means more money, which would then likely mean a better squad sooner rather than later.
And plus, we want as much money available for Ange Postecoglou while the majority of the fan base are happy with the manager. Absolutely spot on. Big up, Kuva. Really appreciate the support, my man.
Very
Hopefully
generous,
you've
man.
got everything unpacked and you're in that new gaff of yours sitting there. I know you don't smoke, at all, but maybe have a Cuban cigar just to, live like a boss for an hour. That'd be absolutely brilliant. And then we also have Paul O'Connor, member for 7 months. Hey,
big up, Paul.
Big up, guys. He says, hope you both are well. And was to see Spurs back. And was great to see Spurs back firing again. Just back from a cruise in the Mediterranean and Amsterdam on Monday for 3 days. So crazy busy. I'm not sure that's crazy busy. I think that's just crazy leisure time, my man, from a cruise, very relaxing to Amsterdam, which can also be even more relaxing. Seems like a very relaxed sort of trip, Jack.
Yeah,
I
and
would have went to
also
Amsterdam and then went on the cruise and availed of the buffet personally. I would have done it the other way around.
I'm impressed by the amount of ground that's been covered by this cruise ship as well. I feel like it's maybe you have to go around a lot of countries to go from Amsterdam into the Mediterranean. But I'm guessing the right route that you've gone for there, Paul. Sounds lovely. I bet it was very sunny in the Mediterranean. I bet by the time you got up to Amsterdam, probably got a little bit colder and maybe wasn't as great weather maybe out there. But sounds really nice. And even also, Sunny Talk Spurs is on a cruise or just came back from a cruise as well. So it seems to be, might be the season right now, March, for these cruises.
Do you know what? I've never actually been on a cruise, and before I die, I'd love to be on a cruise. Maybe people can recommend one for me to try. Absolutely, but big up, Paul. It sounds like a great time you've had, to be honest with you, my man. I'm back just in time and refreshed for the back end of the season with a lot of big games still to come. Aston Villa at the weekend, Man City, Liverpool, Arsenal, which I'll be there for. Other games coming around the corner, my man. So nice and relaxed just in time. Big yourself up, Paul, and hopefully you're keeping well, and hopefully you enjoyed that win at the weekend. And just quickly with Kuva again. Kuva, I was looking at league table today. We're 13 points behind. However, we do have a game in hand, which will bring us back to 10. With Man City, Liverpool, Arsenal, and some other big games to come. Are we out of the title race? I know you love being in the title race, so let me know in the comment section below. And then just a nice comment here from Spurs all the way. I always admire your show, lads, especially the prediction show from other Spurs fans coming all the way from Melbourne, Australia, hometown of Big Ange. Woo. Big up Spurs all the way. I really appreciate that. Really kind words. Really nice of you. Bob Down Under says, Dave, you watch youngsters and loans more than most content providers. Do we have a backup keeper, or do we need to buy one? Fraser Forster, does he have a contract into next season? I think he does.
Yes.
I think he signed a year extension. Look, Josh Keeley is a very good goalkeeper, but just because he's my countryman, I ain't going to hide it. There's a couple of flaws there, and he's not ready to come straight in as number 2 next season. He needs to be sent out on loan a couple more times to develop. There's even there recently at the weekend, there was a long ball down the channel, and I get that Barnet manager Dean Brennan is asking him to sort of be that sweeper keeper. However, he got caught in no man's land, and the first goal, didn't really need to happen. If Josh Keeley's positioning was a lot better, he probably could have stopped it. So there are some flaws in his game that needs to be ironed out, but he's still a young kid. Interesting enough, and it did go unnoticed, and it didn't really get much media attention, but they did have an option in Josh Keeley's contract to extend it by a further year, and they have already took that option and extended it by a further year because they were very impressed with how he's doing out on loan this season. But I would say either we need to go and buy one, but personally, I think the club's plan is keep Fraser Forster there, keep Alfie Whiteman behind, keep Vicario as your number 1. How often are we going to see an Alfie Whiteman or a Fraser Forster next season? Use them as a homegrown registration for your homegrown players and stuff like that, and I think that's the way it'll be. Personally, Bob, but look, I would say if people aren't happy with Fraser Forster, you probably need to go and buy one and give Keeley more time to develop. And that's just a brutally honest assessment there, which I bet no one expected. But look, we'll keep this moving. I won't bore too many more people with my useless knowledge of the underage and their players out on loan, and we'll keep it moving. Jack, who have we got next?
We got Dono Vision next. Yes, Dono Vision is the next
let's
one
get
in
him
charge. Big up, Dono.
One of the greatest FIFA 24 teams I've ever seen in terms of the Spurs concept. Donovan, how are you keeping, sir?
What's up, sir?
How's it going, lads?
Good to see you, flat capped and everything. You're looking good.
Yeah, I'm a bit under the weather right now, but
I'm sorry.
I'm gonna try and after this take a nice long siesta, come back in top form. I got a big game this Wednesday, so I'm trying to hope to beat the clock to that. So
yeah,
nice.
Quick turnaround time, yeah, for that one on a Wednesday night. Yeah, I do hope you start feeling better a bit soon. What do you have, a cold or a fever?
Yeah, I had a bit of a sore throat last week, and then I took last Wednesday off. And I thought, the weekend for sure it'll be gone by the weekend, but it's the line of work I do, right? So it just it takes a lot out of you.
I'm sorry, man. Well, did the Spurs result at all, exacerbate, your feelings? Because it was another roller coaster, man. It wasn't an easy game, right? It was another game that really does test our heart rate and, everything about us.
You know how it is, Jack, having an early kickoff here in North America.
Early too.
Yeah, right. So I always judge it by the result of like how close I am to falling back asleep while I watch the game. Right? It's like I woke up and it's like, well, if I'm gonna nod back off, then But I actually stayed awake, so it was good. It was frustrating. Like a lot of people are going off about the result and like the performance. Like honestly, I don't know if like it was that bad. We did have them at an arm's length pretty much the whole game. Like it was, when you got your bull and your little cousin or brother, you just hold them off at arm's length, right? We just kept them like dominant possession, like 83% possession and a half. Like obviously, I'd like to do something with that possession, but when you got the likes of out of form Timo Werner on the wing and Kulusevski, who can't really beat his man for pace, and players that are learning the system, you can't really ask for much more than that. And you just hope that Timo takes that chance when he's in behind early, and then that's a totally different game. I think we go and win that game 4 or 5 goals, and we would put him to the sword.
I didn't think we were the most convincing, Donovan, but I agree with you that I felt like Spurs probably made life more difficult on themselves than they needed to. There were chances to go ahead in the game, and then if we did that, Crystal Palace would have probably had to come out of their shape even more. And it's just sort of how it goes, where you're breaking down these low block teams. The good chances that do come your way, of course, you're going to try to create as many chances as possible, but it is hard. When you get those more clear-cut chances, you do got to take them, and we didn't. And so it made life difficult on ourselves, made the game a bit more edgy than it needed to. But I think despite it, it's a weird sort of gray area where I don't think we were the most convincing, but we definitely deserved to win. Like there were enough chances in the game that Spurs should have scored. I think 3 goals is completely justified. I think we had probably more than 3 chances to score.
Yeah, like obviously, I mean, everybody wants to go out and like smash teams, right? And like have a good result where it's like put to bed right away. But you look at all the caliber of teams, like Liverpool barely beat Luton like 1-0 this weekend, right? It took an 90th minute winner, right? So when I say we had a convincing result, I don't mean in the aspect of like, we went out and we scored, right off the bat, and it was like a slaughtering of chances, like that City game was. I think it was 27 shots. It was crazy, something like that. What I mean by control is that we had control of the ball. Like we were able to dictate it. We were able to, we played too slow. Like I agree with me earlier and you, Davo, that we played way too slow in certain parts of the game. But the fact that we were able to control the tempo and we were able to set our aspect of playing, and for a while there, it was only Mateta up front, and there was like 8-9 people behind the ball holding on for dear life just while we cycled the ball. And
but is that not half the problem, though, Donovan? I agree with you in terms of we dominated possession, but we didn't do anything with it, and we still found ourselves 1-0 down, and sort of deja vu to a lot of games this season.
Yeah, but then again, I did say if you hear that if Timo Werner puts that ball in, then it forces them to come out, right? If Timo Werner puts that ball in, and then they come out to play. That's at about 36 minutes, 34 minutes that chance goes missing. That ball goes in, then it's a totally different game, right?
But with 80% possession in the first half, I know Timo Werner missed that chance, but let's be brutally honest. The only chance we had, the only chance we created, is that good enough?
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? Those are the chances you need to take, right? There's some games where that's the only chance you're going to take. That's the only chance you're going to get. And if we didn't have that last 10 minutes, you're going to look at that differently. You're gonna rip on the guy, right? And so that's something he has to learn from. That's something he has to grow on. But to counteract that and to be the devil's advocate, I don't know why we don't play out of the back more. I don't know why we don't invite teams on. We saw right away when we played that we dinked around the corner, our own corner, the left side corner there, and then with 2 passes, it was into Madison, into Emerson, and then boom, cross. So we have the quality to bring teams on. I would like to see it like we did at the beginning of the season, where we just do like 5, 10, 15 passes between Vicario, keeper, Van de Ven, to bring them up 15, 20, 30 yards, and then play through them, make that quick pass. Because right now, teams are sitting back and just letting us have the ball, and we just don't have that creative edge to get through it, unfortunately. It's nice to have pace on the wings, but when you don't have the dynamism of like a Pedro Neto or like a creative Jack Grealish outlet, like it's just making a route for our own back, and we can't rely on like the last 10 minutes of every game to come back out that way. But I have full confidence in the system. I see the passing movements. I see the passages of player developing, and Ange even said so himself in the press that there's a lot more to come in the front three, and I think that's also not him coming out and saying it, but I think he in the transfer market as well. I think
striker or winger for you? The big debate going on.
I'm a tinfoil hat, man. I think Kane's back next season, man. I think so. I don't.
That's been brought up more than I expected today.
I don't want to say it and jinx it, but they have a really, really important game against Lazio on Wednesday.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't go well there, I don't see Leverkusen dropping any points. And then get me the hell out of here, I think is his aspect. And I think Levy's smart enough to negotiate 25 pages of like clauses and add-ons, and one of those clauses has got to be a first season bailout.
Do you know what, Donovan? Right, I love the idea of it. But do we think Harry Kane is going to come back? Do you think, let's not forget, he left Tottenham to go and win trophies. He left Tottenham to, pastures new, to go on and be.
No, of course not.
You think he's going to sign on the dotted line, even if we were to agree a transfer fee too?
Of course not. Because then he'll become even more of a. Well, he's not a player anymore. He'll become even more of a joke of a player than he is. You know what I mean? Like people have already he scored a lot of goals. And they rip on him for everything under the sun. He doesn't need more of that. I think, honestly, mate, I actually wrote down a little list here, stuff in case I get sidetracked. I could see, like, I want us to go for Rashford personally. I think if we can pry Rashford out of Manchester United, he's that marquee signing. He's English. He fits the homegrown quota. He's got the quality, and you saw it right away when he was a young lad, when he was coming through the system, how eager he was, and he has that mentality, but. Manchester
Do you think Angel accept him wearing earrings in the warm up? I don't.
Well, that's the thing, though. You look at the difference of attitude between when he came out of the system, when he first made into the first team, and then you look at the downfall of Manchester United. That club is an absolute shambles. It's an absolute shit show the way it's run, and he knows that. And he's even come out now saying like, "Oh, if you're gonna doubt me, because that's gonna make me better." Like he's already turned on his own fans, and the fans have turned on him.
Yeah.
He comes to a positive environment that reinvigorates him.
Fair point.
Oh my goodness, I could see somebody like the likes of Sonny putting his arm around him and saying, "Hey, here's a passing on the torch."
Yeah.
But we need a marquee big English signing, and it has to be English. It has to be it could be Grealish, whether it's Eze. I did see the huddle after of like I saw it on your guys' Twitter reacts.
Sonny rizzing.
Rizzing him up, give him this light skin stare or something. Got him under a huddle and was just whispering sweet nothings in his ears, just hey, come on over here, And no, long answer to a short question there, man. I think it has to be whether it's a person who can play, especially all front three, it has to be a marquee goal scorer. It has to be somebody who can guarantee at least 15 goals in the Premier League. But yeah.
Okay. Speaking of wingers, Donovan, the Johnson came on to win us the game. Do you give him the credit he deserves and play him in the next game, or do you stick with what's been working? Right, don't fix what ain't broke. Right, he's been great as an impact sub.
I rattled the fans with the Rashford comment. No, guys, all I'm going to say with Rashford is that look at Ange Postecoglou when he's done with the man management. But no, Brendan Johnson, man. I heard a stat the other day, lads, of he's the second most successful percentage of successful dribbles in the Premier League, only behind Michael Olise. So take that.
I feel like he probably doesn't attempt that many, so that would be.
Yeah, it could be a lot of stat padding, but when the likes of like Salah are still on that list, right, on that side, I mean that says something, right?
But Salah has end product when he does the dribbles as well.
Yeah, I think that is why we brought Brendan Johnson in, right? This is what I was harping on like 2 or 3 weeks ago. Like, he's not going to be that starter. He doesn't have the minerals for it quite yet. He's only 22, and he comes in with that pace, right? He comes in and he can beat a man when he's tired. You look at Timo Werner on the other side, and say what you want about his composure and his ability. He knows how to beat a man. it's so crazy watching him run at his player. Like he looks like he's barely trying. He looks so graceful. He looks like he's barely running. He's barely running. He just knocks just fast enough to beat the guy. And then once he knows he has that open space, then he just kicks it into gear. And that's what Brennan Johnson needs to learn how to do. And that's what's going to make him a better player. Because right now he's just one gear, balls to the walls, just run. And you're never going to consistently beat Premier League players like that. Maybe in the championship when all they have is a hard shoulder and a hard tackle, a physical challenge. But those Premier League players, pretty much every set of fullbacks is athletically astute. You look at the team we just played, was it not Nunez, but Munez or something? Their new left back, their new right wing back there. He's only his second, third game. He looks like a quality player. So Brennan Johnson did good and everything. I agree with you guys. I don't really want to see him starting next game. Just on the basis that Aston Villa, they play that high line, but they have such good resources to practice it with their own players. They have so many fast players like Bailey. I'm not going to name them all. Bailey, that Frenchman.
Diaby.
Diaby.
Yeah, there you go. Ollie Watkins. Plus their Jacob Ramsey. Like they have these good quality dynamic players that they'll understand what Brennan Johnson's going to do. Why we're going to beat them is our passing play and drawing them that opposition out. And you said it on a break there, Dave. What Kulusevski does going back defensively, that's we can't really take that out of our game, especially against a top four side there.
Yeah.
Say what you want about them. Villa, they've come leaps and bounds since they sold Grealish. They're a good run. They're a good run establishment.
Yeah, they used the money well. I got to give them credit in that, and they got a good manager in there as well. And they seem to have brought the whole Sevilla recruitment team over. So it looks like that's probably set to continue. But Donovan, last question, my man. Europe. Jack sparked controversy today on a Monday evening. Europa League or Champions League for you next season? Does it matter even? Just as long as it's Europe.
Yeah. I was watching a video on the new Champions League format to try and understand it this morning. I think it'd be fun to play in that, 36 teams. Even if you are kind of shit in the group stage, you can still get through. It'd be that 22, 24 spots. And just for the money. And let's be real, it'd be cool to win the UEFA Cup because it was the first trophy in Europe we've won. But everybody wants to be in the top competitions, right? So what that means for us going forward is that we have to put a good run of games together.
Yeah.
I think when I say earlier in the chat there, and I'll say it again, we have a really big chance on Saturday or Sunday, I should say, whatever day the game is, I don't even know. But this weekend we have a really good chance.
Oh, it's Sunday.
Sunday, yeah, because we have Europe on Thursday. That makes sense. I think if we lose, even a draw, I think that's a big dent in our top four hopes. But I was looking at our next 5 fixtures. The only one that really stands out is Newcastle, other than this Villa game. And I think we have Newcastle number. I think we kind of reset the scale on that home result. And why I say this is because if we can put a solid run together of those 5 games, people who know we're not playing our best football, even though we're getting our results. So during those 5 games, if we can start playing Ange ball again, like the way even 75% of what we did in that first 10 games, and we just start putting teams to bed, that gives us a real chance in those home games in April. And I was looking at them. City would be a tough game, but it's at home, and Arsenal game's at home too. So that's 2 big momentum games that I think that we take the month of March, right? We could surprise people. I'm not saying we're gonna close the gap of 10 points, especially at this part of the season, but anything can happen in this league, man. So yeah, I want Champions League.
No, I agree with you. I was looking at the fixtures today. After Villa, we've got Fulham and Luton as well. So if you beat Villa, you should do Fulham and Luton and that, and then put yourself in a nice run. And let's see where it takes us then coming into April, Donovan. I'm with you on that for sure, my man. But Donovan, great call in as always, my man. Really appreciate your time, my man.
Cheers.
And we'll
feel better by Wednesday. Hope you get to make your game.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm making it no matter what. I was listening to like a Kobe Bryant compilation at the gym today just to get me through it. I was like a zombie, and and he was saying stuff like, "Oh, I played through fevers. I played through this." Like, yeah, dude,
Yeah.
like, that's the mentality. Well, one quick thing, lads.
I think Kulusevski scored a brace against Man City with a fever. So yeah, it can happen.
Yeah, I know. It's a state of mind. No, I'll sleep. I'll sleep it off. It'll be good, man. But one quick thing, guys. I was looking at this Højbjerg news. I think get my tinfoil hat on again. I think Højbjerg's good. I think he's set. I think he's going to be here.
Oh, Donovan, can you still hear us?
I'll lose you
You might
guys.
have froze. Can you? Yep.
Oh,
Yeah, we
back.
can hear you again.
You're
You were
back.
saying
Yeah, I don't
something
know.
about Højbjerg?
Yeah. If I still got you here, I'll put myself. We're good.
Yeah, go on. We can hear you
Okay.
anyway. Just speak.
Okay, so I'll just quickly say this. The Højbjerg thing, I think we'll get rid of him if we're going to upgrade seriously, and that's like the likes of a Joshua Kimmich, a De Jong, a Camavinga. Like, we're not going to get Camavinga, but that level of player.
Yeah.
Goretzka.
I think the only reason he wants to force his way out of the club is because of the Euros. And I think he realized, because he's an ultimate professional, right? Wherever he's been, he's always given it his all for club and country. And I think he saw this Euros as an opportunity to, like, if the Euros, like, Denmark might not win it, but he wants to put his best foot forward. And if he's not getting game time week after week, like, that's going to affect his performance at the Euros and for his country. And so I'm thinking he thought, I got to get to a club where I'm a starter, I'm playing a majority of the minutes, and that's why he tried to force his way out. I think the agent talk, might have just been prolonged before the transfer window, and once he opens that can of worms, you got to kind of finish changing agencies. I saw a video of him after the game. He was running on that treadmill, who knows how long he ran. Well, that's because he didn't get enough playing time during the game. I think once the Euros is over, and when I buy into that ultimate professionalism, he wants to be at a club where the infrastructure is right, and there's a project and a clear vision. That's us. I think once the Euros is over, he'll be fine. I think he'll realize that there's not too many projects out there that can afford him and his budget. He doesn't.
Nope.
He's just gone. He's not even in the back end. He's just gone. I guess we guess what the gist of Donovan, what he's trying to say. I think he's alluding to that. Maybe don't give up on Højbjerg yet. He could be here for another season.
That's another crazy. He had some hot takes in this one. The Rashford, bringing Rashford in when Rashford's stock is probably at its lowest. He still has the confidence in him, and then also Højbjerg actually sticking around rather than leaving. Hot takes from Donovan. Love it.
Hot takes for sure. Just Tottenham Hotspur Fan TV. Just going to be quick on this. We got two last guests, and then we'll be calling it an evening. Look, anyone that's listened to this channel all season long, would know that we're 100% behind Richie. To be honest with you, I struggle to see why the outrage about Richie. He's one of only 2 players in double digits this season in terms of scoring goals. Everyone asked who's going to step up when Son went to the Asian Games. Who scored the goals? Richarlison did. So for me, I don't get the outrage around Richarlison. I think we should be looking at keeping him, but also adding to what we've got. Whether that means Son goes up front and competes with him next season. And what I mean by competes, obviously Son starts. Just have to make that clear, just in case people take me out of context with Richarlison challenging. Or, you go and buy another striker to come and complete and add, another 15, 20 goals to what Richarlison is adding. That's where I'm at with it. Jack, you want to say something quickly?
No, I think you put that exactly perfectly. I don't really get where all the rage and I don't get how people could actually be upset with Richarlison. I don't know how he could play much worse or play that much better. Sorry.
Yeah. They are Tottenham Fan TV, so I think you know where we sit on that, my man. Big yourself up. But look, let's keep it moving. I believe we've got Daniel Larson, if he's there. Daniel, camera on, my man.
Daddy Larson. There he is.
He's there. And then we've got Michael to end, the guy who's been giving us the Vescovic updates, which we'll have a good conversation on, I'm sure. But let's get on Mr. Daniel Larson, and let's hear what you have to say. Daniel, how you feeling after the weekend, my man?
Good. Better than I did during the match, definitely. Jeez.
I
was actually so bored during the match that I was on my phone most of the time.
Were you falling asleep? Were you falling asleep?
And yeah, I was like, I was kind of hungover as well, to be fair, but there you go.
It wasn't a good game to nurse it, I bet.
It was bad.
What was it? Was it the first half that was frustrating? I felt like Spurs were very different in the second half. It looked like we were creating chances, had more urgency about us. Dave even brought up that the moment that the board for additional time came up in the first half, they all of a sudden realized that, yeah, geez, lads, we need to go on and win this game. What did you make of like the performance? Because you're saying you're not that convinced by it, even frustrated by it.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard when Palace, of course, parked the bus basically.
Yeah,
and we still struggle to break a low block like that this day. I don't think we're ever going to be good enough to break even how we play. We never seem to do it. But,
do with the forward line, Daniel, you're mentioning there about the struggling to break down. Is that something that has to be adjusted in the summer transfer window, or is that something Ange Postecoglou can adjust with what he's already got?
We hope he can be able to do it. He was good enough manager to do it, but I think more. I don't think that the front line is the issue there. I think like the midfield, we need like a Moussa Dembele again to do that, when they can take the ball, just bully up, dribbling without losing the ball, and that's what I want Pasumo to be. But of course, he's been absolutely dreadful since for the longest time. So.
I see mixed. Do you know what? I see mixed sort of opinions on Basuma's performance. You go on social media, a lot of people are saying he was excellent, but you go on
I don't
YouTube,
see that.
a lot
I
of
don't
fans were saying
understand
he
that.
wasn't good.
I don't understand that. It was anonymous. For me, it was anonymous. So how can that be good? It's not. I mean, it's not good or bad, really. Just 5 out of 10, you could say. So for me, and it's disappointing because I know how good he can be. I mean, how can you be that good at the start of the season, and then you're just there, just a body now? It is bizarre. And yeah.
Did you what do you make of the fact that also you feel like Basuma's struggling, but Bentancur also struggling, right?
Yeah,
like, and if you saw that video of him on the bench,
Yeah.
he's frustrated with his own form right now. He's clearly not even upset that he's been subbed off. Like, you can tell by his reaction, like he knows he needed, or not needed, but he knows that he's not playing well. Like he looked very upset with himself.
Yeah, I mean, that's because, of course, of the injury. Again, he should never have been back as quickly as he was. I think that's a huge issue. But, of course, we had to because of the injuries. So we had to bring him back, even though I don't know why we couldn't use youngsters again. I think we could have done that. Like Liverpool, with they use youngsters even when they got injured. Why can't we do it? We got talent, don't we?
Yeah.
I'm tired of that. That pisses me off now. After seeing Liverpool lift the trophy with reserves, why can't we do that? Just use the youngsters.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I spoke to you last week, Daniel. That's what we spoke about all pretty much. That was the main question that I had actually last week, was after that game. Like a lot of Spurs fans had a lot to say about that. And I'm not sure if I got to speak to you about it. So yeah, what do you feel like? It almost feels like the time has been missed though with Ange, right? Like, hasn't he missed the window maybe to throw in some of these younger talents? Like, there were plenty of chances earlier in the season, but maybe he missed it.
Yeah, he has missed it definitely, and I don't really blame him, because he probably like a little bit, since it's his first season, he don't want to like, maybe I'm not scared, that's the wrong word to use, but throw in youngsters maybe. But for me, like, when you ruin, you see Bentancur, like, you can almost like not ruin his career, but halt his career a little bit. Definitely with throwing him, because you see it, like, it's sad.
Tottenham, I believe I see the stat today that Tottenham are one of the lowest, I think, at the bottom of the table in terms of giving youth players minutes, or
0 apparently.
Minutes. Well, that's not exactly true.
Yeah, that's bullshit as well.
Only has got a few minutes, so have made the table. It's not exactly true, but when you go and look at the amount of youngsters we've given opportunities to, we're down the bottom, regardless, even if it isn't 0. Why do you think that is? Because even during the injury crisis, right, Newcastle turned to Lewis Mighty. Look what they've uncovered. United turned to Kobe Mainoo. Look what they've uncovered. People act like Tottenham can't afford to do it. But Man City are challenging all 4 fronts. They brought through Phil Foden at one stage. Now Rico Lewis and Oscar Bob. Look at Liverpool. Went on won a Carabao Cup using kids. Everton, people are saying, let's go and buy Braithwaite. Okay, but how did Braithwaite come true? Everton gave him the opportunity in the first place.
Yeah.
Why aren't we giving our players the opportunity? And no manager has done it. It's not even just an Ange Postecoglou thing. No manager.
Yeah, it is bizarre. I don't know if it's the high regime that's deciding something. they need to be on the under-21s and learn. I don't know. It's $1 million question, to be fair. Definitely the Braithwaite one is the biggest one for me. I mean, he's turned one to be one of the best defenders in the league. Well, apparently Ashley Phillips, look at him. I know it is the championship, but apparently he's got some of the best talent they've ever seen, in the championships. When we have that many, why can we just use him? I don't get it. And it's frustrating for me because when I see other clubs do this and then all of a sudden lifting trophies, I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Why can't we do it?
I think also though.
Yeah.
Sorry. I was going to say, I think a lot of people's frustration is not even that we don't have a youngster playing week in, week out like some other teams do. It's just that there were opportunities this season when we had played, for example, Eric Dyer, in the game, when that could have just been given to somebody else, regardless of, because the outcome was still, in most cases, when Dyer played, we still ended up losing, most of the games that he ended up coming in for. So was that an opportunity that Spurs could have then used to just give to somebody else? And that's where I think I'm coming from, where I'm not expecting us to have a Lewis Miley in the team playing week in, week out. That is exceptional to have in that situation. But I'd expect more just when there were chances, and we didn't take them. It felt like,
especially when Dyer was never in Ange's plan, it was always going to be sold.
Yeah, correct.
And you got youngsters. That's the future of this club. You give them their chances.
But also, we sit here constantly every single season moaning about the lack of squad depth. Well, you can create that by bringing through a youngster or two. You can add a bit of squad depth by doing that. Like Jacko, we're not sitting here asking for them to play week in, week out. But what we are asking for is, instead of turning to the same old individuals that we know what's going to happen when they play anyway, give a youngster an opportunity and let's see what he can do instead. But it doesn't seem to happen at Tottenham, which is highly frustrating. And I would argue if players don't get minutes next season, there'll be a lot of them young lads on contracts. So I reckon be looking to go elsewhere so that they can kickstart their career rather than it being hampered at this point. I would say, we've got a lot of talent there, and we've got a lot of talent coming through underneath, the likes of Jamie Donnelly, Phillips, Dorrington, and stuff like that. Let's see if Ange maybe competing on all four fronts next season. Let's see if there's a lot more opportunities for them in terms of minutes. We'll wait and see on that one. But it's just, I agree with you. It's frustrating, man.
Yeah, sorry to start a little negative.
No, it's not. I've been trying to speak about it. I was raging on this last week's one because, it's my special topic.
This is a question that we had, though, was the fact that, Ange Postecoglou, Timo Werner, he was on the dance floor. Daniel, what are your thoughts on Mr. Timo? Do you feel like he played well? I mean, someone earlier said he was close to being man of the match. I think Dermatron said it. And crazy enough, I've actually heard that from someone else today, that they actually thought Timo played a lot better than maybe some others did. Do you think Timo is doing enough to warrant sticking around? Do you think the 16 million could be worth it at the end of the year? Or you're not going to pay it?
No, I'll pay it just because it's cheaper ships, really.
Yeah.
He is very frustrating, though. But he was definitely the best. It's definitely his best game. But my God, he needs to one-on-one. No excuse not to finish. No excuse. As a professional footballer, you gotta finish one-on-one for me. You're a striker or forward.
Did you have a sneaky feeling he was going to miss?
Well, no, I had no confidence there. But it was like the little, and then I saw him turn. I'm like, no, why? And then of course,
because I heard someone describe when Sonny was played in behind. Someone had described it when Sonny was played in behind. Time slows down. Everybody just knows he's going to bury it. And when Werner was played behind, everybody's heart rate just goes up because it's just this, no one knows whether it's going to go in or not type of thing. That's the
thing, because the first touch he had there, oh my God, was insanely good. And then he's just but he's definitely improving. I see the improvements.
He did everything right up until the shot, I think, really.
That's where the final, just little is where that needs to improve. But
do you know what? The finish is actually easier than the first touch he took to lay himself with the chance. And that's what I think what the most frustrating thing about it is. That touch, make no mistake about it, at the speed he's doing it with the split-second decision, that is an unbelievable touch to take that down and set himself up. Harder to do than the actual finish. But saying that, though, Daniel, now that he has got that first goal
Yeah.
for the club, if he was given that opportunity next week, do you back him to stick it away?
Yeah,
then,
now is he
that
going to
he's
score buckets?
confident?
And now he's going to score hat tricks each game. No. But yeah, you hope so. I mean, if a goal doesn't give you the confidence for a strike, then nothing is going to do it. So you would think that he's gonna, if he gets 1-on-1, then he's gonna finish. Because he has the talent. I've seen him score some outrageous goals for Leipzig. I just don't know why he can't do it in the Premier League. So
it's weird because he really loves England as well, but yet he can't seem to score very often, or at least in the rate that he likes to in England. Another winger, though, Brendan Johnson, came on to save the day. Do you play him against Aston Villa, Daniel? Would you give him a start?
He is the new Ole Gunnar Solskjaer super sub.
But then super sub only? Like, is that what you're going to keep him as?
As for now, he needs to grow a bit. He needs to become a man before then he can start. But I like him. I'm starting to like him.
Okay. I have to say, I do love his shithousery with his celebrations. That does give me
that's funny.
A bit of joy, for such a sort of on the outside, looking in, a placid lad, then to have that bit of shithousery in him, it is good. But do you start him against Villa though?
No, I don't think so. I think you start with the same team again, super sub, again energy, because we know how Villa are gonna play. It's kind of similar to Palace, in my opinion. So you have them against that low block and can bring out energy and speed, and hopefully that could do well better. Hopefully score first this time.
That would be nice. Do you know what? There is an opportunity for it to happen, though. Villa do have a bit of confidence about themselves and don't sit everyone behind the ball like everyone else seems to be doing.
Yeah, they are unpredictable, definitely. They are very, Emery is very unpredictable. But
and look, I know they got over the line against Luton, but there's enough there for me to say, if we have a proper goal, we can definitely take them.
I think so. They've definitely been weaker now recently. But even at Villa Park, I mean, they were unbeaten there for like forever, and now they lost a lot there recently.
Hopefully they play Langley, and he has an absolute clanger.
Oh yeah! Oh my God! Yeah, definitely. I mean,
that'd be nice.
And Cash, Matty Cash.
Yeah, what are you going to?
Yes. Oh my God! I forgot. Matty Cash, you are fucked. I don't care. I want to see a red card, and I want to see legs breaking. Even I saw some. You tweeted a Spurs fan recently, a rude comment, apparently, or retweeted something. So he's there. Oh my God! That's very good.
You never know. Bentancur might go and take his own retribution. You don't know. You don't know.
Good point.
But Daniel, great calling, my man. Great calling. A big game this week, my man. Let's get ready for it. Let's get prepared, and hopefully we can go and get the 3 points.
Hope so. Definitely.
Give me a big.
And now, of course, I do want Champions League, and I do want Champions League.
Why?
Because Champions League.
Fair enough.
You're not overthinking it. Yeah, not overthinking it.
No.
Just Champions League.
But
man.
I just have a little. Well, maybe it's a little bit not topic, but
work away.
But I'm so in love with Leverkusen, so I need to talk about it a little bit. Because Xabi Alonso was, of course, linked with us in the summer. Do you think it would be different if he was here? Do you think he would have done the same thing for us than he does for Leverkusen?
It's difficult for me. I think he's clearly a great manager. He'd obviously get a great tune out of Pedro Porro as well as Destiny Udogie because he's doing the same thing with Frimpong and with Grimaldo. It's hard for me, though, Daniel, because the Bundesliga is similar to the Premier League in the sense of, it's a lot of goal scoring. It's usually end-to-end. But the other thing that's not so similar about it is I think the defending is very woeful at times, like in the Bundesliga. And even this season in general, the competition is just not what it used to be. Like Dortmund aren't the same team they used to be. Bayern are clearly not the same team they used to be. RB Leipzig aren't even the same team they used to be. I'd say the Bundesliga is at a very weak point right now where it's even hard to tell who are the real sort of teams this season other than Leverkusen. Like Leverkusen, weirdly enough, have had an easy time of kind of having a bunch of teams that are kind of just not really performing at all. And so they've I'd like to say that Xabi Alonso would do well in the Premier League, but he's benefited from this year. The Bundesliga has been much easier to win than almost any other year I can honestly possibly remember. Like, this is probably the easiest year for him to have won it. Not taking anything away from him, but like every team that would normally be challenging for a title are just, not even in consideration.
Yeah,
like, they're
true.
just not good enough. So I'm curious would he really be like second or third? I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's weird, but just
Good thought. It's a good thought. But I mean, it could have
Anyway.
also been Vincent Kompany.
Yeah.
Or Ten Hag.
But don't take
Or Ten Hag, or Tuchel.
don't take Ange all the way anyway. Like, I love you guys, so don't worry about it.
In Ange we trust, Daniel.
Yeah,
In Ange we
exactly.
trust, my man.
Good man, Daniel.
Come on, you Spurs. Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.
Big up, Daniel, my man. Good talk. Good question about Xabi Alonso. That's one I'll definitely be thinking of late into tonight. Daniel, go and have a good evening, sir.
See you, my
very
man.
good question. Very good question. Xabi Alonso's done a good job. He's got a lot out of Frimpong. I remember that guy at Celtic was really good. He's head and shoulders above the Scottish League, but he's done really well under Xabi Alonso out there in Germany this season. So much so, a lot of the big clubs are actually looking at him. He's on their radar. But Jacko, down to the last guest of the evening. By the way, if anyone's looking at me going, why does Dave keep pulling stupid faces? I've actually got a knot in my back and it's really, really uncomfortable. That's why. Don't worry. But look, we'll keep it moving. We're down to the last
Yes, you made it through, Dave.
And he's my partner in crime on the Scout Reports, my Luka Voskovic, man. And he scored tonight, Michael. How are you keeping?
Yes, he did. Yes, he bloody did. But he did, not only did he score, but also like both him and his team were honestly, like, for the first 60 minutes of the game, they were really, really good. Like, of course, like, I'm talking in context of like the Polish league, right? But considering like the past 3 performances that I gave the reports about, where well, the first 2 were absolutely dreadful, and the other one was an absolute borefest. So. And listen, the team that they played against, Stal Mielec, it's not a bad team, right? They are the kings of draws, by the way. Stal Mielec in the Polish league, right? They just know how to draw. When they can't win, they will just draw. So the fact that if I recall correctly, for the first like 55 minutes, they had no attempts on goal, literally no shots, not even on target, no shots. I kid you not, Vuskovic was absolutely amazing, winning all aerial
Sounds like us at the weekends.
But honestly, kind of like that. I think unfortunately they conceded, but it was really like a fluky chance, because it was a shot outside the box that it went into the foot of a striker. He didn't mean to touch it. He was raising his leg up and it hit the leg and completely with the keeper, and the keeper had nothing to do that, right? So honestly, an amazing performance and a bullet header from Vuskovic. Trust me, guys, like I don't know how it's possible, but the guy is like 16 and 1.95 m, and he's bodying like
he's been like a shit house.
30-year-olds. Yeah, the bodying 30-year-olds, like bearded fuckers, tattooed fuckers, and he's just there, a 16-year-old boy who somehow is capable of physically comparing with them. Yeah.
But look, we won't wait.
I just hope he doesn't grow. I just hope he doesn't grow too tall, because if he's too tall, then maybe like his mobility might struggle with it, right? He's perfectly tall right now. Trust me.
If he grows any taller, we'll put him in goals. That's what we'll do.
Basically,
don't give any more away on Voskovic, because we'll keep that for next week. But by the way, great updates. Keep them coming in. They're absolutely fantastic. But look, what do you make of the weekend? What was your overall thoughts on the performance? You got some people out there going, look, we won, that's all that matters. And then you got other people like me maybe going, yeah, it's good, but, performances also help. And, we just didn't do enough in possession for large parts of that game.
Yeah, so basically a little bit of a story time. I attended for the second time the match of my local team, and it was starting at 4:30 UK time. So basically 1.5 hours after our game started, and it's like quite far away from where I live, so I had to take a long tram trip, right? So I was watching the game on the tram. I watched bit in my flat, and then I went on the tram and was watching, with all the other fans around me in the tram, singing, bouncing. I kid you not, I thought the tram is going to, go off track because of all the jumping, etc. Right? It was a nice atmosphere, but with the game itself, listen, I can't lie. The first half was really bad in my opinion. I know we kept Crystal Palace away and they didn't have a sniff, which was a bit different compared to some other games where similar things happened. But because actually, if we recall the games against Brentford and other teams, right? Those teams had chances against us in the first half, and we couldn't create concrete chances against them often, right? Whereas this time it was basically both teams kind of nullified each other. They had no sniff at our goal, but also we couldn't really create anything, right? And the funny thing is that when I got to the stadium and I closed the stream, right? I went out of the tram, and literally as soon as I went out of the tram, I saw a notification of 1-0 Crystal Palace. And I was like, fuck's sake, I was just pissed, but I was like, okay, never mind. I'm going to enjoy the game in the stadium, right? So I went into the stadium, and actually it's quite a big venue, and sometimes there are some internet issues there. So it's kind of hard to catch new notifications, right? So I was there, I was watching the game, right? And suddenly a notification pops up 1-1, and I was like, yes, okay.
What were you like when you seen Werner's name?
Honestly, surprised as hell, because my brother also started spamming my messages like Timo. I was laughing, right? But then I saw 3-1, so I was calm, right? My local team also won, which was brilliant. I have plenty of pictures taken with my camera, right? The whole, our kind of south stand, they had this amazing spectacle with flags and flares and all that jazz. It was really nice. The atmosphere was amazing. 25k in the building, so on Polish standards, it's really, really nice, right?
And it's not just 25k, though. It's fanatical. It's fanatical. It's not just ordinary people turning up.
Yeah, trust me, our fans were fanatical, but the opposition fans, there is a bit of a rivalry between the teams, but also their fans are known for being absolutely crazy. So sorry, I know we want to talk mainly about Spurs, but I had to get it off my chest, right? They smuggled a fireworks box into the stand, the opposition fans, right? And at 60th minute, they set the fireworks box on fire, and literally 55. I have no fucking clue, right? But 50 fireworks went into the roof and hit the roof of the stadium, right? And started bouncing down on them. So it was absolute mayhem. The referee had to pause the game for a minute before everything calms down. So yeah, that's just the Eastern European experience of going to football matches. So
look, I had a few Polish friends, and they were telling me about the the fanatical fans over there, and the support and stuff. It's it's very fanatical, is what I would say. But Michael,
it's kind of crazy.
I presume you've obviously gone back and watched the whole highlights of the game and stuff that.
I watched it back. Yeah.
What do you make of Timo Werner's sort of a game? Sort of a mixed game from first half, massive one-on-one that he missed, but also didn't do anything. Second half came out, complete different player, and got his goal. What do you make of his performance overall? And do you think he'll be more confident now off the back of scoring, getting his first goal for the club?
So, the first half, and not only him, first half, as I said, I was disappointed with the whole team. I thought we were really toothless and we lacked speed and creativity, and it was also reflected in Timo Werner's performance, right? I think again, it's kind of hard to talk only about him because I think it applies to the whole team. We just didn't take a man on. We never tried to take him on. We were always going sideways, VOC FC basically, right? Going like this. We never attempted like to go through the lines, right, with passing or dribbling. And I was really pissed with that first half performance, because I know this team can do better, but for some reason we just didn't feel the urgency. And again, it also reflected in Timo, right? But for his goal, listen, one goal won't make me say that I want us to sign him. I need more if we are going to sign him. I need him to score more goals, like the one-on-one that he had, right? I need him to take away those chances, right? But I will give credit where credit is due, both to Johnson and to Werner. Johnson, massive big up for fighting for that ball and actually going to the end, right? I still have plenty of criticism towards Johnson, but for this super sub performance, he was actually really, really impactful. And also kudos to Werner for noticing that Son dropped back. I don't know if you probably watched this, right? But it was really nice. Son dropped back and dragged two center backs with him, and he noticed that Son did this and actually committed forward, so that there was no crossing. There was no way a Crystal Palace player would cut that pass, right? And listen, if he didn't score that, then I don't know, he had to score that, right? So big up that he took the chance. We need that, right? We need him to take the chance, especially because he's one of the only options that we have on the left wing if you want to play Son through the middle, right? So that's the way I look at it. Both Timo and Brennan Johnson, massive step up in the second half. I was happy with their performance after a certain point, right? After we started playing,
And I was going to say, sort of on Brennan Johnson, though, for me, Michael, I feel like right now I would just not fix, I wouldn't break what is working for Spurs right now. He just seems like he's benefiting from what I've seen Højbjerg benefit from, maybe being more as an impact player this season, used off the bench for Postecoglou, can kind of come on when the game perhaps suits them. It seems like that's the case with Højbjerg. When maybe teams are a bit more tired, he gets more time on the ball, he can hurt you because he has that range of passing that Dave and I think is a bit underrated. And then in the case of Johnson, when the game starts to get a bit more stretched, team players are tired, and he comes on with that fresh energy, also that hunger, which he seems to have to actually score, to actually get on the score sheet, seems to kind of benefit all of us. And I don't know if we need to break that. It's a weird thing because we talk about the meritocracy thing, but maybe the meritocracy shouldn't actually be used by Spurs because it would actually hurt us.
Yeah, so I definitely agree with Johnson. I think plenty of us noticed that whenever he starts games, he seems to run out of energy at 50 to 60th minute mark, right? It's not that he's not doing the sprints, but he isn't tracking back as much. And, clearly the guy has a lot of explosive power, but he doesn't have a big tank on him, right? He doesn't have a lot of fuel in him. So for me, I always advocated for using, I don't know if I said it on this show, but I always try to advocate that I think he would be much better suited as an impact sub, right? We have a guy in Kulusevski who has absolute bundles of stamina. This guy can run for 180 minutes, right? Could probably play 2 games in a row, right? So for me, it's wise to use Brennan Johnson as an impact sub, because if he already is quite faster than some of the opposition players, then imagine if he comes on against tired legs, right? And then he can use his burst of energy for that 30 minutes to have an instant impact and huge impact, right, on the game, just like he did with Andersen, right? I think if Kulusevski was still playing right wing, because we moved him to the middle, right? But if Kulusevski was still playing right wing, I don't think he would have closed down Andersen as fast and as aggressively as Brennan Johnson did. Which, listen, Andersen slipped. Let's not kid ourselves, right? He slipped. That's why Brennan Johnson took the ball, but he was there. But he was there to take the ball off him, right? So, and you can make a point that he slipped because he was feeling that Brennan Johnson is coming for him, right? So, yeah, I agree with Jacko. I think both him and Højbjerg clearly use the fact that they are being brought on as subs well. I think Højbjerg, as you said, Jaco, exactly as you said, right? He has more time on the ball. He has more space to think. Also against those like lower blocking teams, they won't be pressing us as much at like 70th minute, etc. Right? So Højbjerg actually has quite good passing on him if he has like a lot of time on the ball to think and pick his point, especially those diagonals, right? But if someone is running at him and he has to make a quick decision, and usually he goes sideways, right? And with Brennan Johnson, exactly what I said. I think that he just doesn't have batteries for 90 minutes. That's why I would use him either as a power sub or use him for like 50 minutes, 60 minutes, and then sub someone else. But we don't have a player for his place, right? Because I don't want to drop Kulusevski. I still think Kulusevski gives us a lot, and his work is sometimes underappreciated, right?
Yeah.
That's how I look at it.
With that. I completely agree with that. But a lot of people looking at Kulusevski and goes, "Oh, his numbers aren't great this year." But a lot of people don't take into context that he played a lot of the games or a good few games down the middle, where it will affect your numbers and stuff like that. When it comes to Kulusevski, he doesn't get enough credit for his defensive work. He's the only one in the team that can pick up the ball and carry the ball properly with great effect with that size. Brennan Johnson started against Everton. Biggest problem was the reason why the ball kept on coming back is because no one could hold it up. No one could get on that ball and carry it. And for me, I think that's what we need against Aston Villa at the weekend. Michael, Jack has kicked off a bit of a debate today, about what would be better suited for Tottenham Hotspur sort of heading into next season. Europa League and give us a chance to sort of work with this, with the whole squad a lot
What's
more.
What's better for Spurs?
Yeah, what's better? Or Champions League football for the revenue?
Oh, it's really a hard question because like if you guaranteed me, like 100% guaranteed me that the money that we get for Champions League we will use to bring in players, then I would definitely say Champions League, right? But actually, like I have quite a sneaky feeling that Europa League might be good for our squad and for our team. I think when you get into the Champions League, I would say like Champions League games from groups, like even in group stage, majority of Champions League games are on a similar level to Premier League games, right? Whereas in Europa League, it's not like as good as Champions League, but you actually can like consider making subs here and there and giving like 1, 2, 3 youngsters a chance, giving players experience, right? And as much as it's an unknown, right, how those under 21s and our new prospects will develop, right? I would like to see them be given more than like 5 minutes at the end of the match, which would be the case if we were in the Champions League, right? They would either not feature at all or maybe barely play like 5 to 10 minutes, right? Whereas I think if we went into the Europa League, I think there would be much higher chance of them playing like 30 minutes or, or 60 minutes or something like that, right? And I'm not even talking about like, the Vines and Dorringtons. I'm talking about like the like Bergvall or some of the players that I think will definitely be part of the first team, but they will be young, or Dragusin, right? Dragusin, for example, I want to see Dragusin play because all we saw from him was like 20 minutes in all matches, right? I want to see him
that should be
play.
a great competition.
Yeah, I think he would thrive in it, right? He looks really like a physical beast. So yeah. I honestly want to say I don't mind if we end up in Europa League. I think I've been quite consistent with it. Before this season, I didn't really have expectations of us finishing like 4th or higher, right? I was fully prepared for a rough season with us and finishing in Conference League or maybe 6th, right? So I think if you finish 5th but finish strong, I really don't mind. I think it's still overachieving considering what situation we found ourselves in before the season started, right? So I would be completely fine with Europa League. I know many people tend to like snub at Europa League, but I actually really enjoy the competition. I think like there are some teams who are like high quality good, like really good structured teams that can test you really, really well, right? And also like a lot of dropouts from the Champions League also end up in Europa League. So we still play some Champions League teams, right? Like for example, AC Milan is playing in the Europa League right now, right? So I seriously wouldn't mind if he ended in the Europa League. But listen, give me Champions League and better transfers, and I am all in for Champions League, right? Too. So it's not like I don't want Champions League, right?
No, look, I'm sort of with you on that regard, Michael. You know that coming into this season, we were all expecting it to be a tough season. You know, we would have snapped your hand off for sort of any sort of Europe. And look, I didn't like when the Spurs fans snubbed the Europa Conference League when we were in it under Conte and stuff like that.
Yeah,
For me, it's European football. I grew up watching Tottenham, you know, in the Europa League. That's how we started off. Harry Kane got his first minutes against, I think it was Hearts, you know, developed them again against Shamrock Rovers and games like that. We were able to develop Harry Kane. I remember Tottenham played Basel and Mo Salah absolutely destroyed us, if I remember, if that's who he's with. Basel, he absolutely destroyed us that game, you know, and that's where he really made out his breakout name. It's a good competition. I wouldn't be turning my nose up at it. But Michael, great chat, my man, and we'll get them looking forward to the Vuskovic update next week, my man. I can't wait. We've got a goal to talk about, which will be good. I wish I could show the image of it, but I can't. But yeah, look, thanks very much for getting involved on them and keeping us up to date on Vuskovic and sending over the videos. And on time squad, I haven't even had to go chasing you for one yet, which is absolutely brilliant. So thank you very much for giving up your time for that.
Yeah, actually, I was supposed to send it yesterday, but I kind of forgot about it. I don't know why. I kid you not. I was like, you know, I was like, I had something to do, but what the hell was it, right? And I just couldn't remind myself. And suddenly I wake up like 7:30 a.m. today. I'm like, fuck, like, you know, Dave does this like early morning on Monday, right? So I had to do it now. Yeah, the lighting was actually quite good because this was early in the morning, like the weather was beautiful. So yeah, that's a plus, right? But next update, I will be updating on 2 games actually, because they played today and they will be playing on Sunday. So 2 games in the next update from me. And listen, he's 16. It will be a long ass time before we see him play, even if we see him play, right? Because a lot of things can happen. But so far from what I saw, a 16-year-old doesn't look like, you know, apart from other players, like 30-year-olds in a league that's maybe not good, but it's also not a trash league, right? I think Polish league is like 20th in Europe, so it's not much, but it's honest work, right?
Look, he's 16 years of age. You know, it doesn't matter where you play at 16 years of age, as long as you're getting the minutes under your belt. And, you know, that's all we can ask for. Well, Michael, big yourself up, my man.
He's getting, sorry. He's getting full 90s. He's getting full 90s, not even being subbed, right? That's the amazing part. Like full 90 minutes performances. That's amazing. Sorry, Dave, I cut you off again. No, but I'm actually kind of getting like a bit hyped with his performances.
No, look,
right?
I agree with you. I think it's spot on. You know, just at 16 years of age, as long as he's out there playing men's first team football, that's what counts. It doesn't really matter the level. It's just about getting minutes into his legs and stuff like that. But Michael, I am going off to watch Big Brother now shortly, my man. So we will let you go and we'll speak to you again very, very soon, sir.
Yeah, pleasure speaking with you boys as always. And yeah, come on, Spurs, and match we trust. Bye-bye.
Have a good rest of your week, my man.
Big up, Michael.
Big up.
You too, boys. You too.
Come on, you Spurs.
Yeah. And everybody, you show Michael a lot of love in the comments. You know, he takes his own time out to be able to give me the update on Vuskovic. So, you know, make sure you give him a lot of credit in the comments for that. But Jackal, you sparked quite the debate this evening.
Yeah, that was derailed. You know, is my job, I guess. You know, for this fan show, derailed it as I can and as I should. I enjoyed Michael's updates also on the Poland. I actually just randomly today was, as before we wrap up, my last bit of, you know, my last words, which have nothing really to do with Spurs, but I looked up the city or the town of Radom, where Vuskovic is. Doesn't look like there's going to be a lot of distractions for him either. It looks like a pretty boring, pretty quiet sort of town in East Central Poland. So I think he'll be very much focused on the football while he's out there by the looks of things. So that's also good to see.
If I'm correct, it's the seaside we need to keep him away from. Apparently, that's where all the action happens, down by the seaside in Poland. So just keep the scopes from there. But anyway, if anything goes wrong with him, we'll just get Michael down there to help the kid out, our boy in Poland. But big up, Michael. But look, guys, that's it from us this evening. Thank you to everybody who's took their time to come out and have a discussion with us this evening. Thank you to everybody in the chat who sat with us for the 3 hours, this Monday evening, talking about our great club, Tottenham Hotspur. Really appreciate it. And a big up to everyone who decided to go the extra mile tonight. Dermotron, Hennessy, Kuva, and Paul O'Connor. Big yourselves up, guys. And really appreciate the support and stay tuned. I'll definitely put out something tomorrow. I might actually come back out with an under 21 and an under 18 update now that there's been a few games and stuff like that and stuff developing, a couple of new contracts signed and stuff like that. So have a look out for that tomorrow. I'll see you all then. Go and have a great evening. Jack, anything you want to say before we end off?
No, that was it. My little bit on Rodham. I'll keep it there, everybody. Come on, you Spurs. In the big end, we trust. We never stop. Keep looking out for the content coming up. And big game this weekend, everybody. Let's prepare ourselves for that.
Oh, get ready. Big one on Sunday. Come on, you Spurs. See you all back here tomorrow.
See you, everybody.